Good evening and welcome to the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Pat Hoffman on with Bob Brown tonight and joined by the women's basketball coach for IPFW, Chris Paul. We are about 15 to 20 minutes or so away from the start of the men's game tonight. The Dons closing out their season against Texas Pan Am, while the women's team for the second game in a row playing a game prior to. And Chris Paul, the interim head coach, closing out the season in style with a win tonight over Utah Valley State. Your fourth win in 5 games. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I feel like we were talking over there as a coaching staff. We wish we had 10 more games because we really are starting to see some things we've been waiting for, and now all of a sudden it's starting to click, and it's a lot of fun right now.
Coach, it looks like just kind of the natural development of this team over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Is it one of those things where they're just finally starting to click, they're finally starting to get it?
Yeah, I do believe that. We went through a 12-game losing streak, but we were competitive throughout. We had a lot of close games, and we just couldn't get over the hump. And now all of a sudden, I think the turning point was going to Purdue. When we battled for about 30 minutes against Purdue, I think these kids realized, you know what, we can play. And now it's always nice to be at home. You feel a lot more comfortable, and you win a couple games, and the confidence builds, and shots fall, and they start enjoying what they're doing.
On the court, X's and O's real quick, what's been the biggest difference?
Well, I think taking care of the basketball. Last game, I think we had 6 turnovers, and tonight I see we only had 9. We've done a good job, but not this good a job. And whenever you limit your turnovers and you get a lot more shot opportunities than the other opponent, good things happen.
Watching tonight's game, you get the win by the final score of 84-60. You jumped out to that big early lead. They came, I think it was like 19-7, something like that. They came back, tied it up. You were up by, I think, 4 at halftime. Second half, you put them away. You get matched every one of their runs.
Right. One of the things that's happened to this team all year is we have been susceptible to some runs. But what's different about our team now than in the past was when teams made runs on us, sometimes we would fold a little bit. And I wouldn't say quit, we just got rattled mentally. And right now, it seems like when teams make runs on us, then we answer. And I just think that's a learning process that we're going through.
Coach, talk about you've got 2 great scorers on your team, and Ashley Johnson and Jonna Lewis Carlisle. Talk about what it means to have 2 of those really #1 options that you can go to any night.
Well, coaches will always tell you that you can always go as far as your backcourt, and we've got 2. I wouldn't trade our guards for anybody. Christy Curry, when we were down at Purdue, talked about how good our guards were. She doesn't feel like there's many combos that are as good in the Big Ten than what we have. And I don't know about that. I just know that they're pretty solid. And game in and game out, we know we're going to get something from them.
Talk about your front court as well. Another rebounding advantage tonight. You've seen a couple of big lineups here in your last stretch of games, and your team has responded very well.
Well, once again, a lot of that is guards. We do a great job with our guards getting to the glass. I see AJ had 8, Jonna had 6. So when you get 14 rebounds from your 1 and 2 guard, that helps. We've been looking for some post presence. And Julianne, even though she's not starting, she's been coming off the bench. And this is 5 straight games that she's been in double figures, and that's huge for us to get that type of production off the bench.
One thing that I kind of noticed the last couple of games is the girls just seem a lot more loose. Once they got a win or 2 under their belt, now when they shoot, they just appear to be a lot more confident, thinking it's going to go in as opposed to hoping it's going to go in.
Or wishing, wishing and hoping. I just felt like early on they were pressing. And whenever you lose some games and then all of a sudden you get close, they're thinking, oh, we want to win this game. I'm pressing instead of just relaxing and shooting. So we've been doing a lot of different things, bringing music to practice, talking about being positive all the time, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, why are you doing it? So we're really talking about enjoying the moment, playing hard while you're out there, and just letting some things happen.
Good. 1 to go for you on Friday night at the Gates Center, Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 8 o'clock. If folks want to come check out the season finale for the Lady Dons. A couple of goals you're looking for to get out of this team. You said you'd like to have another month to play with them, but you've only got 1 left. What are you hoping to get done Friday night?
Well, we want to continue this. We talked about trying to win 6 straight. We lost 1 to South Dakota, but now we've bounced back. We got a chance to go out on a 3-game win streak, win 5 out of 6, and send our seniors out, who have been here for 4 years, out on a very positive note and feeling like, they left the program in a lot better position than when they showed up.
Well, Coach Paul, we certainly appreciate you stopping by and joining us. Congratulations. Good luck getting the last one on Friday night.
Good luck, Coach.
And that's Chris Paul, the interim head coach of the IPFW women's team. We're going to come back, talk more about the men's game coming up in about 10 minutes. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Are you in there?
What's up? The show's at 7. Whoa. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
Once again at the Coliseum, Pat Hoffman along with Brad Brown. Happy to have you along with us tonight. Randy Schiffman got to do a little work, so Brad and I getting to work the season finale. And Brad, before we talk too much about this game, I figure since it is the final game, we should spend a little time talking about the seniors.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're done. And it's one of the unique things we were talking about on Sunday. It's very interesting to get anywhere in Division I and really see a program that has 0 seniors in any given year. And the other funny thing is we saw North Dakota State here on Sunday had 1 senior on the roster. Texas Pan Am tonight, 1 senior on their roster. So when you get into these independent programs in particular, I think you oftentimes have that big turnover that you've got where you keep a very young program starting out those first 2 or 3 years. And that's the case with IPFW. You're going to have so many talented players, all of them coming back next year, plus some of the new guys they're going to have coming in with the transfers as well. Really adds up to keep things very exciting when you can look ahead like that at the end of one season to the next.
So no seniors to say goodbye to. Last year we only had 1 David Simon. So as we look at this matchup tonight against Texas Pan Am, the Bronx, not the Broncos, just the Bronx, they come in with a 7-23 record. The Dons 9-18, but they have won 2 in a row, looking to make it 3 in a row. This will be the second meeting between the two. The Dons picked up a win in the first one down there.
61-56 was that final game. Was about 5 weeks ago, as best as I can remember. That was kind of the one highlight, or one of the highlights, on that long 7-game road trip that the team had over the course of an entire month through January and February. And I think if you ask Coach Fife and you talk to the guys, they learned so much about themselves when they made that road trip. And to be able to get a win anywhere along the way really meant something to this team and gave them just that little bit of boost to kind of get through the rest of that road trip, but more importantly, to play as well as they have these last couple weeks of the season.
The final game of the season for the Dons, chasing that 10th win. Coach Fife talked quite a bit about it when we talked to him earlier this week. He says he doesn't want to get the 10th win unless they play well. It's so important for him to play well. Obviously, he wants the 10th win, no doubt. But he wants to close this season with an exclamation point and a chance to get his 3rd consecutive win. That could be a jump start for next year.
Absolutely. Not unlike Sunday's game. Sunday was a good game. We saw a very entertaining game. Both teams played very well. 72-64, the Dons winning over North Dakota State in that last contest. And I think one of the things that Coach Fife has talked about all season is effort out of these kids. And you really saw from start to finish an effort where the Dons got up early, gave up a run, fell behind, got ahead, kind of went back and forth, and they played a pretty tight game in the second half, but in that last 3 or 4 minutes made a late run. And we haven't seen that a lot this season. That's the sign of progress out of a team, where you can get to that last 3 or 4 minutes and you've got that something, that little extra that you can really pull away and put a team away, especially on your home floor.
And the thing that was so impressive in that game, they were 12 for 12 from the free throw line in the second half, and you can't do much better than, well, you can't do any better than that.
And it took them 30 minutes just to get to the foul line. We sat here the whole night. Once we finally got to the free throw line there midway through the second half, we looked and it was 0 for 0 down there and about 9 minutes and change left on the clock. So really to be able to take advantage of those opportunities late, that added up to some, they weren't overly important points, but it was nice to keep that cushion at 6 or 7 points and end up winning by 8.
Obviously, the one thing that certainly helped this little winning streak is they've had home games, and clearly the Dons, the way the schedule is set up as an independent, they were 4-13 on the road this year, and but 5-5 on their home floor. And again, you got to take baby steps before you can run, and a chance to have a winning home record would, again, be another point to build on.
Yeah, we're taking a look at some of the fans that are out here tonight as our cameras were kind of browsing around the Coliseum here. Almost 4,000 people here for that game on Sunday. That was very impressive. I think our second largest crowd outside, of course, of the Notre Dame game back in December. Now, tonight we're up against a couple other teams playing over on another station with IU and Purdue.
The I and the P,
Yeah, that's right. But it's one of those things where you still have, we look around here, a nice little crowd. It's still a Wednesday night, and it's still one of those things where when you're competing with so many things going on, to be able to get a good little crowd out here, this is your base. You start winning at home, and like we've talked about all season, people are going to show up to watch really good basketball.
The Dons have been led the last two games by Quentin Carruthers and DeWitt Scott. They have quite simply been fantastic. I was adding up the numbers. Carruthers in the last two games averaging 22 points, 7 rebounds, shooting 65% from the field, 2 out of 2 from the three-point line, 8 out of 8 at the charity stripe. DeWitt Scott has been right there as well.
Yeah, 21.5 points, 3 boards, 58% from the field, 9 threes in those two games. On Sunday in particular, it was very interesting. DeWitt came out hot hand in the first half. He wanted it, he felt it, and he was hitting everything. Second half, Carruthers had that. Q1 of the ball, hitting everything. And as we talked to Coach Paul about having 2 girls in his backcourt that you can go to with Johnson and Lewis Carlisle, that's what Coach Fife has had these last couple games, being able to go to DeWitt, being able to go to Q, get those points just kind of on command, and those guys have been able to knock those shots down, and of course that opens everybody else up. Tyler Best gets open, Hawkins gets open, it frees that offense up and really keeps it moving, keeps that flow going, and has generated some great points.
What's your impression, Ben, of Dane Fife? Obviously, ballyhooed hire coming in, 25 years old, youngest coach by 5 years in the country, had the name recognition, but you didn't really know how he was going to do because he's never been a head coach, and what's your impression?
The bar was set so low, I think, and the expectations just weren't there from everybody except Dane. Dane came in a winner. He's won at every level of basketball he's ever played, and he knew what he was up against coming into this situation. And I think what happened was that rubbed off on the players. It rubbed off on the administration. You could feel it with the fans. The night of that Notre Dame game, it was contagious in here when you realized all of a sudden, however well or not well Notre Dame played that night, IPFW had a chance to win that. And that is carried over through the end part of this season where in a no-win situation, we're sitting here talking about maybe a 10th win when they were going to be kind of happy with 5 or 6. Not happy, but that's what they were expecting. And to be able to come through and exceed those expectations, and more importantly, to be able to think ahead where this is going next season with every one of these guys coming back and some additions to come to it as well, I think it's very promising, and my impression has been that he has gotten every bit of what he could out of his situation this season.
Kind of a unique role for IPFW here in this game tonight. One role that they haven't always handled that well is winning games that they're expected to win, because usually they're used to that underdog role, trying to, prove people wrong. Tonight, it's a team they've already beat once. It's on their home floor. The other team's closing out their season and closing out away from home. They're a long way from Texas. They're probably ready to get home, that kind of thing. But IPFW at home, this is a game they should win, but that's not always been a good role.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. We were watching the high school basketball sectionals last night, and you take a look at any situation where you've got teams that are supposed to win on paper, teams with previous wins, that doesn't always happen. It's just one of those things. You still have to come out. You still have to play the 40 minutes. All these cliches that we could put together in the span of a game, you still got to do it. You got to win that game, protect your home floor.
All right, we are continuing to count down until tip-off, just about 4 minutes or so away. Brad and I are going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back with the opening lineups and the starting lineups and the opening tip when we come back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Did you know IPFW has its very own pep band? The Stop Band is looking for more members, and we want you to join. IPFW students even receive a credit for their participation. Perfection is not required, just enthusiasm and a desire to share your school spirit. Check out our website for more information. Don't just play, stop.
Stadium. Dons getting ready to play their season finale against the Texas Pan Am Bronx. They come in at 7-23. Dons 9-18, looking for that 10th win. Brad, as we look at Texas Pan Am, what kind of sticks out with them?
Well, the first thing that stands out is Kyle Line, 6'11", 240, and a junior out of Waterloo, Iowa. When you've got a big man like that, that's just one of those things that 6'11" in particular, not necessarily a matchup problem for IPFW, but you got a tall, lanky fella down there, and I'm watching him down here in warm-ups. A little bit of range. He looks like he might be able to step out and hit that mid-range 10 to 15 foot. I guess it's not really a jump shot. He's just kind of back there playing it up down there. But that's going to take that inside defense and pull it out, maybe give some of these guards an opportunity. And it looks like just up and down their lineup, a lot of talented guard play that we're going to see out of Larry Shepard and Dexter Schenkel at 5'11" and 6 foot, a junior and a sophomore. And, without really knowing a whole lot, I'm going to guess that we're going to see a lot of inside-outside, a lot of penetration and kick. And it'll be interesting to see kind of how the defense is able to pair that up.
That first meeting, as we said, won by IPFW 61-56, so not a real up-and-down type of game, the first meeting.
And I think possibly that could play into IPFW's favor at this point. I think they get an opportunity maybe to run the floor. We saw a lot of good transition play on Sunday against North Dakota State, and I think when you get Carruthers, you get Scott, Pompey, and Posley have been running the brick a lot better here in these last couple of weeks. I think Coach Fife might want to take and push that tempo up a little bit and see if maybe the experience that they've had of these last couple of wins could pay off for them in really controlling how this game goes.
Dons won their last game, as we said, over North Dakota State 72-64. They beat South Dakota State 75-54. One thing that has also looked very good for the Dons is their turnover to assist ratio in that South Dakota State game. Fantastic. 18 assists, only 9 turnovers. The last game before that, 12 and 11. For the season, they've averaged 11 turnovers, or 11 assists and 13 turnovers.
And I think even 13 turnovers is not a great number, but I think when you take a look at the youth on this team and some of the inexperience that we had when the season started, we would have expected maybe 17, 18, 19 turnovers average a game. Probably would have been a number that we would have more expected. And those last numbers, 9 turnovers, of course, anytime you're in single digits in turnovers, you're not going to find a coach that won't be happy with that. They're just giddy about that turnover number being in single digits. And I think taking care of the basketball, we talk about it every game, but it's going to be very important to setting that tempo early and really keeping control of Texas Pan Am here tonight.
They've also been shooting well from the three-point line, 12 out of 24 against South Dakota State, 6 out of 13 against North Dakota State. So a couple of positive numbers. Dons will try to add to that. And we'll have the opening lineup when we come back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
That book was all right.
If she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales. You're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Do you know IPFW has its very own pep band? The Star Band is looking for more members, and we want you to join. IPFW students even receive a credit for their participation. Perfection is not required, just enthusiasm and a desire to share your school spirit. Check out our website for more information. Don't just play, stomp.
It's IPFW live from the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. This broadcast is a production of College 56 at IPFW in conjunction with UPN Fort Wayne.
Back once again. The national anthem just performed here at the Coliseum, and as Brad said, nice little crowd here tonight. Again, we understand what we're up against in this state. Indiana taking on Purdue, and of course implications in that game. But folks that are here, and especially one former Hoosier who's sitting on the bench at IPFW, Dane Fife, not thinking about that. Maybe he's got it on TiVo to watch when he gets home.
Yeah, it sounds like something the coach might do. Phone it in and see what you can get. Call up that score online when you're done. He's got important business here tonight.
So it's IPFW and Texas Pan Am starting lineups about to be introduced to the crowd here, first of all, for Texas Pan Am. We'll see a starting five with Lily Shepard, a 5'11" junior guard, averages 7 points, leads the team with 4.5 assists a game. Dexter Schenkel is a 6' sophomore, leading scorer on the team, averaging over 11 points a game. Forwards will be a freshman and a junior. Alex Robinson, 6'6", and a freshman. Kano Edwards, 6'9", and a junior, averaging 3 and 9 points respectively. And the big fella in the middle will be Colin Line, 6 feet 11 inches tall, averaging 10.5 points and 6.2 rebounds. There you see the starting five.
And I think the one thing that stands out, the scoring up and down. Schenkel at 11, Lyon at 10, Edwards at 9, Chapman at 8, coming off the bench, Shepard at 7. Really balanced scoring out of the Bronx.
As far as IPFW, it'll be a familiar starting five. It has been successful of late. At the guards, we will see Brad Pompey, 6 foot 1 inch junior. They'll be joined along by DeWitt Scott, 6'6" sophomore. Scott averaging 14 points. Pompey, 8.5 points. Quentin Carruthers, guard forward, hard to classify him. He's kind of a swing man. 6'4" junior, averaging 12 points a game. Justin Hawkins at the forward spot, 6'6" junior, 7.3 out of Garrett High School. And Tyler Best, the leading assist man on the team and leading rebounder, 6 foot 9 inch junior in the middle, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
And a couple of really good matchups, I think, for IPFW. Scott out there at 6'6" is going to be an interesting matchup, and or Carruthers at 6'3", because Shepard at 5'11" and Schenkel at 6 foot in the backcourt going to have a height advantage. I think we'll probably see some good post play potentially tonight out of Q and out of DeWitt.
Well, hoping to close out the season with a bang. There you see Dave Fife came to this job, didn't really know what to expect. He knew he wanted to be a head coach, and the reason he got the job is he sold Mark Pope and the fact he wanted to be the head coach at IPFW. Mark Pope has talked about that several times. He came in with the plan, wanting to be in this spot, not just wanting to be a head coach anywhere.
Yeah, and he was very specific with what he wanted to do with this program and the level of success that he wanted to achieve early on. And as we talked about on the pregame there, has exceeded expectations, I think, in this first season, and really only bodes well looking ahead to hopefully season number 2 with Coach Fife.
And don't forget, coming up next year, all of these players will be back, barring any transfers. And you add a couple of transfers that are coming into the program. Kevin Nelson, who was the most valuable player at Central Michigan last year, averaged 17 points a game. He was 16th in the nation in three-pointers per game with 153 last year. And also Demetrius Johnson, the transfer from Kent State. He led Ohio in scoring as a high school senior, averaging over 34 points a game. So the guards are going to have to earn their minutes.
Great to be bringing in a couple guys that are proven track records next season.
Opening possession controlled by the Bronx. They're, of course, in the orange. Opening shot is up and good. Dexter Schenkel with the first 2 points of the game. In the last couple games I've done, Brad, it's been IPFW against a fellow blue and white team. This time, I don't think I'll get confused.
The bright orange is not hard to miss.
Don's first possession of the game. DeWitt Scott over in the corner now to Justin Hawkins. Kick it back out. Pompey, little stutter step.
2-3 zone on the defense out of the Bronx this first time. Don's going to have to look for a couple outside shots here.
Scott with a little penetration. Pull up, no. Tap around. And Hawkins chases it down.
Right, it's just textbook Justin Hawkins right there. Get that one, running it down.
Carruthers with the 3. This time won't go. Rebound pulled down by Lyon.
There's 6'11" inside again. Had a really good position.
Last game I called, Don's faced a 7-footer, and they struggled with him in the second half. Line, little turnaround. That one won't go. Carruthers up high for the rebound.
Tyler Best there on the defense. He has played such great defense the last couple weeks here. Might be a couple inches shorter than the big guy, but he's going to defend him very well nonetheless.
Pompey from the corner. 3 won't go. Kano Edwards pulled down the rebound. Shepard will bring it down.
Edwards looks like a strong one out there at 6'9". He's got some muscle on him.
Inside shot, no, and a rebound pulled down by Best.
Not really overly impressed with the sink that the Bronx are coming out with. That's something we like to see in sync.
Carruthers with the drive to the basket, as we said, averaging 22 points a game in his last 2. No surprise the Dons have won both.
And of course, the flip side to shooting over that 2-3 zone is you just cut right to the middle of it. Good move there by Q that time.
He's really, confidence is risen sky high as Kano Edwards gets the bucket inside.
Yeah, quick little move, little hook shot, and I got a feeling they might keep pounding in there to 6'9" and 6'11" and try and just muscle their way to some points early on here.
Well, no doubt Robert Davenport's Bronx have a little payback on their mind. IPFW won at their place. They would like nothing better than to return the favor here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, particularly here at the end of the season. As you said, these guys are probably pretty well worn out from making these road trips like they have.
Best working on the big fella, kicks it out. Pompey's three won't go. But Best came down with a rebound and it's fouled by Edwards.
Yeah, good position. Penetration out of the big man that time. That's a little unexpected. Kick it out, and Tyler kept himself in good position down there against 6'9" and 6'11" on that rebound.
Best missed 2 games with that ankle sprain. Really struggled his first game back, but pretty much looked back to normal last game. Bad pass on the inbounds, though, and that'll turn into 2 points at the other end for Dexter Schenkel.
Very quick off of that steal, getting down the court in a hurry, and he's going to be a little moving around out there, a little water bug, as I think we used to call him back in the day.
DeWitt Scott's first 3 of the game won't go. The rebound pulled down by Shepard. Kick it back, and I thought it might have been a walk there, but the bucket will go to Kano Edwards.
Coach Fife going to get a quick timeout here as we talked about controlling the pace early on. Pan Am coming out here, wanting to run the floor, getting those couple of guards running up and getting it done early on.
Looking at Dane Five's demeanor. It's kind of like, what's going on, folks? It's like, hey, this is our final home game.
He's like, guys, hey, this is it, man. You got to wake up. You got to get it done early on here. There's no tomorrow. And of course, there's going to be something tomorrow. You might run them anyway if the night keeps going like this.
8-2, but we played just over 3 minutes here at the Coliseum.
I've noticed that the orange uniforms on Texas Pan Am have green trim as well. So this is that's a nice little duo they got going there. We'll get a shot at Coach Davenport at some point. He's making quite a fashion statement tonight as well.
Pressure put on by the Bronx. Carruthers will get it across the timeline. See if the Dons come up with something after the timeout. Coaches love to see that.
Man-to-man switch here for the Bronx after a little zone early. They kind of slide back into a 2-3.
Scott gets the answer. So after the timeout, 3-pointer by DeWitt Scott.
There's Coach Davenport. The tan jacket, the blue pants, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's on the road.
Fashion police out here with Brad Brown.
I shouldn't be talking.
Nice little scoop, won't go, tapped around, and out of bounds back to the Bronx.
I of all people. No, nice shot back here at the other end, DeWitt. That's exactly what we're talking about. When we kind of back and forth, settle into that 2-3. Maybe he's feeling it again. They might want to just go right back to him early and see if he can't string together 3 or 4 field goals here in the first 7 or 8 minutes.
9 out of 14 for Scott from outside the arc in his last 2 games. Good hands defense that time by Pompey. Hawkins in transition, knocks it down.
Nice shot for Justin. He just stopped. He saw what he wanted there and hit it dead center.
Kept the toes behind the line. So that ties it up at 8.
We saw the defense here, and we're seeing it as Pompey comes out. He's got a couple inches on Shepard there. If he can stay in front of him, he's going to create a little havoc.
And left-hand shot, nice drive, won't go. The Best with a rebound.
Clearing out well in the middle there. Tyler Best, as you said, coming back from that ankle injury. He got over that first game of kind of getting back and has been solid since.
Quick 3, Scott won't go. Line with a rebound, and Pompey, like a bulldog, almost takes out the ref. That's the kind of player Dane Fife likes to see. We've got a timeout in action, 8-8 our score. We're coming right back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Do you have everything you need? Paper, pencils? We only ask that you do your best. And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
we've seen 2-3 zone defense out of Texas Pan-Am. The way to get over that is shoot over it. And there's a big three from DeWitt Scott as he has maybe a hot hand early. In transition, look at this from Justin Hawkins. Hit it, quick dribble, stop, pop, up, bang, dead center. That's a great shot for him if he can get it, and that evens things up early on.
I know Randy Schiffman's got a little work to do tonight with the IU Purdue game, but that shot right there would make him proud.
Yeah.
He's always yelling for Justin to shoot because, quite honestly, he doesn't shoot enough, and I know Randy was probably out of his seat on that one.
Blue-collar guy. We've seen that all season long out of Justin. He likes to rebound, he likes to scrap, but he's got a nice shot when he can get himself into it.
Alley-oop won't go, but Edwards will get the second chance.
Just a little off on that, but nice play. Again, coming out of the timeout, Edwards just sticking with it down there. He's a load to handle.
Scott can't get the second one, but there's Hawkins with the rebound. Carruthers, kind of awkward shot, won't go, but that's how Q shoots it. Shoots a little off to the side shot, but it's certainly been falling the last 2 games.
Randy talked about it. We had a great angle here for a couple of his shots on Sunday, like a curveball, kind of on the side, puts a little spin on it, but when it gets going, it works.
Edwards will turn around. That one won't go. Kept alive, but Hawkins with the rebound.
Yeah, Best is doing a great job keeping his position down there, trying to keep the big man away from the basket. I don't know that he has a lot of range, does Edwards. Really good underneath. We've seen that already.
Danny Puente has checked into the game. He wears number 1 right on top for the Bronx. And the scouting report on him simply said shooter.
Down to 12 on the shot clock, staying in that 2-3 zone, see if the Dons can shoot over it. Hawkins again. Yeah, there you go.
Same spot. He's got 2. Randy smiling ear to ear.
So we had DeWitt Scott, we had Quentin Carruthers. Maybe this is Justin's night to heat up and get going.
That'd be nice to see. He's always got a lot of friends from Garrett that make the trip down to Fort Wayne, to the city.
Saw the family down here on Sunday as well.
Puente, we said he's a shooter. He's shooting 44% from outside the arc, but his first one won't go. Dons lead it by 1. And they turn it over.
Yeah, a little bounce pass there. Probably would have been a better idea.
An easy layup won't go. Looked like Scott was going to concede the layup.
Missed a couple of those. Schenkel, again, on the drive there. He's got a great first step. A lot of speed out there.
I think he was anticipating contact. Put it up a little bit too hard when it came.
Trying to draw that foul. Just shoot it when you get down there.
Carruthers 3 off the mark. Zach Trader also into the game for the Bronx. Still no substitutions for the Dons.
Got a couple here at the scorer's table, so Coach Fife's going to make some switches at this next whistle. But a good, we're 7 minutes into this, and starting Five's had a great start for the most part here this evening. Yeah, Puente, they're really working him out at the top, and went the other way this time for Schenkel, and he got fouled by Scott, but they are working Puente all over the place. I won't say Reggie Miller-esque, it's not quite that much, but they had him all over the far side of the court from the camera right there, trying to free him up, and I guess used him essentially as a decoy that time, and it's Schenkel. I think he's getting 3 shots here. Yes, he is.
I don't know if the folks could pick up Dane Fife at the top of their screen on that shot outside the arc. It's every coach's worst nightmare when you follow a jump shooter outside the arc and missed the first free throw. Fife walked from the spot all the way to the side of the bench, then back. I was talking to his grandfather before the game about how Dane has handled it, because obviously he has seen him throughout, and I think he's handled his temper extremely well. He's better than I expected, to be honest with you.
We noticed that, and we were talking about that on Sunday. He was so fiery as a player. Now, obviously, when you come into the role of a coach, there has a certain level of maturity that you just automatically do when you put the suit and tie on down there, and you have to be the guy in charge on that bench. But for the most part, he's had some nights where he could have gotten, I would say, Coach Knight-esque, just kind of knowing where he comes from. But he's gotten into his own kind of Dane Fife mood down there. You know when he's not happy, but he's kept pretty good demeanor for the most part.
Fortunately for the Dons' sake, they only had 1 out of the 3 free throws. I was also talking with Grandma before the game, and she made sure to point out, he's no Coach Knight. First thing she said when I brought up tempo. DeWitt Scott will get another 3.
He keeps shooting 2 out of 5 from 3-point range, and if it keeps going down, get the guy the ball. And if they stay in that 2-3 zone, these shots keep falling. They might have to switch that defense at some point, and Dons might be able to go to the inside game. But for now, 4 threes here in the first 7 minutes and change.
Look out for DeWitt Scott next year, because he has just learned how to compete at this level. He thought he knew how to compete. Coach Fife, I think, taught him a few things about what it really takes at this level to improve.
It really took him, oddly, those first about 20 games just to kind of get the hang of what it's going to be here in, full court Division I.
What he's really been impressed with is his work away from regular practice, extra time on the court. That's what kids don't quite realize. Hawkins can't get a third one to fall. Shepard into the lane, kicks it out. Into the big fella. And best belly up defense, but it can be called for the foul. It's Coach Fife. He's a little hot on that one. And we've got a timeout at action. Dons lead it by 3. We'll take this break. We'll be right back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Are you in there? What's up? The show's at 7. Whoa! Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
That 2-3 zone. 12 out of the first 15 field goal attempts have been threes. There's DeWitt Scott again. That's a nice looking shot. His shot has gotten so fundamentally sound as the season has gone on. You talk about that time away from practice. That's just being a gym rat, Pat. We've watched enough basketball. People who know basketball, kids who spend just those endless hours in the gym, just taking jump shots, shooting free throws, working on their form. That pays off just 5, 10, 20-fold as a career goes on.
And the time that's perhaps even more important, Coach Fife talking about the extra time during the season, I think he'll stress what these kids need to do in the off-season to come back better next time. Line gets the free throws. It's a 1-point game. Dons lead it by a point, 14-13.
Bringing that defense out, a little 2-2-1 to the half court, trying to put a little trap on him here out of the timeout. And they settle back into that 2-3. Puente and Shepard out here. You got these two feisty little guards out at the top. If nothing else, just to wreak a little havoc at the top. And down to 12 to shoot now.
Jakari Johnson and DJ Posley into the lineup. And Best going to lose it to one of those quick guards. Puente, nice tip by Hawkins, but Puente, nice little turnaround, will get it.
Yeah, Best got caught up amongst the big man and the 2 guards, just a triple team. Too many orange jerseys around him there, and that's tough to do when you've got your center, who's not, not your best ball handler. Tyler does well enough, but another bad pass right to the middle of the defense that time.
Dons turn it over again. How many turnovers for the Dons?
What are we looking at here? 4th turnover there early. And really just, I think all 4 of those turnovers really just bad passes, little mental lapse here in the first half.
Lob it into the big fella. They collapse on him, but Line gets the bucket, and it leads up to 3.
That's going to be there a lot, I think, if they want to do that. The 6'11's got some arms on him, a little bit of muscle, and it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Fife wants to do if they keep going in there.
Another 3. Scott knocks it down.
Feeling it again, baby. That's, 3 from 3 different spots, and none of them even came close to touching the rim. So DeWitt is finding his range. Got a good rhythm on that shot, too. Catch, set, shoot. Very simple.
Kind of unusual the way it hits that net. It kind of gets caught up a little bit in that net. It's so soft off his hands.
Yeah, great touch.
Shepard thought he dragged that foot.
12 to shoot. Dons, forcing the turnover there. The defense really moving well that time.
Posley going to push it and rejected cleanly.
Schenkel got back. A lot of speed out there for this team from Texas Pan Am. Good recovery after they turned it over.
Posley took it strong, though. He wasn't backing down.
No, not at all. It's a good drive for DJ. He needs to keep doing that.
keep going to line until they can prove they can stop it. Before they can.
Off the glass there that time. Nice little touch. He's got 6 here, as does Edwards, and that's 12 points out of your 2 postmen. And, you know, we talk about the matchup down there. See if maybe Coach Fife tries to bring another big man in at some point. Jelko might get himself some minutes here if they need somebody to put a body on him in there.
He's played some good minutes the last couple home games that I've seen.
Yeah, it's again, another guy just showing some progress. 8 to shoot. Dons need to find something here.
Got to buy him a few more steak dinners, though. Got to get a few pounds on Z.
Yeah, 6'9", 210. That might sound all right, but when you look down the line at 6'11", 240 and 6'9", 220. And here, yeah, in fact, Z's coming in right now as he and Carruthers check back in. Tyler Best's going to get a break. Tyler's a little worn out. He's had to run the floor a lot, and he's getting banged around pretty good by those 2 big men down there. So Jelko's going to get himself, he's got a handful here in the first half.
Quick shot by Scott. That one halfway down, but kicks out.
Good shot, though. He had a good look on that. It was just front rim, back rim. I think that's a nice play off the inbounds.
Dons taking 13 of their 18 from outside the arc. That's not a percentage you normally like to see.
That's kind of going back to where the Dons were earlier in the season as Hawkins picks up the foul down there. Another one of the front line, and Trader going down there, 6'7", up against Hawkins, and that's a decent matchup. Justin is strong enough and physical enough that he can handle a guy even 2 or 3, 4 inches taller than him.
15 following the Dons, 4 so far against Texas Pan Am.
Temple kind of settled back into a little more of a half court here. We've seen the Bronx want to run the floor on a couple of the opportunities that they have had. But the Dons, we're getting back to where we were earlier in the season there, where all those 3-pointers going up as, you know, early in the season, just trying to figure out what to do with that inside game. And now it's kind of a matter of this 2-3 zone defense that we've seen. Still trying to figure that out.
Trader, a 76% free throw shooter, and gets both of them.
Edwards back in, and Trader getting a break. So now they've got 6'9" and 6'11" out there. And Jelko and Hawkins will probably be the 2 that have to defend them down there. So we'll see.
Pompey tried to run his man through a Hawkins screen.
So now they're showing man-to-man this time. See if the Dons can take advantage and find. They got a couple of matchups out here that are going to play into their favor. This one right here with Carruthers could be one of them. Except there's the steal.
Quick hands by Edwards at the other end, and too high off the window. Good job by Hawkins not picking up the foul.
Job to get back there. Justin is usually one of those guys that always seems, you know, no matter what kind of a position he's been in at the other end, he can make his way back there and at least divert a shot, at least force the guy driving to think twice about it.
Hawkins, a junior, he'll have a senior day next year.
Yeah, we'll have a big senior day here at the Coliseum at the end of next season.
And it means something when they are seniors, too. It really does as far as leadership. Something clicks in when you hear that senior. Pompey, who will also be a senior, knocks one down.
Another one in transition. We've seen 2 or 3 threes here in this first half for the Dons. They're coming down, and they're spotting up for those. You know, it's a great shot if it goes in. Coaches aren't very happy with it if they don't, but you take it when you can get it. Yeah, you can hear the fans now. Oh, yeah, and they did call it. The fan right behind us there calling Edwards. He threw an elbow. Whether or not Justin kind of took a little flop on that doesn't matter because he drew the foul and gets us into that next timeout.
And we've got a break in the action. That fan was great. I don't know if you could hear him. He said 21's elbow, and then immediately they called it. We'll take a timeout. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Oh, yes, to the 30, to the 50, to the 30. Oh, damn, he's going down the sideline, and it's up.
If legislation being considered now in the U.S. Congress passes, you won't see your local team or your government or local events and news on this TV channel. Telecom giants want to end the funding source for this and other local channels. And with such action, end your rights to watch or produce local programming. Don't let local access become won't see TV. Go to SaveMyFreeSpeech.net or AllianceCM.org now and learn how you can help. Become informed and contact your representatives in Washington. The time for your action is now. Otherwise, this is all you'll see here soon.
Coliseum. Entertaining game. Pat Hoffman along with Brad Brown. 1-point lead right now for the Bronx.
37% from the field for the Dons, as you've mentioned. 14 of IPFW's 19 field goal attempts coming from three-point range. Probably not what was part of the game plan here, but holding Texas A&M to 42%. So it's, we've had an even game here so far. Neither team has really had a great offensive rhythm. Dons have hit half a dozen threes, and that's 18 of their 20 points right now. 1 2-point field goal in 13 minutes. They're going to look at that at halftime and not be very impressed with it. 10 to shoot now. Got to try and find something.
Best with it. Will pass over the defense. Inside to Posley. Nice play on the back door, but couldn't get it to fall.
Great pass across and underneath that time. DJ just maybe a tad too far under to finish that. Good look by Tyler, though.
It's something they might want to come back to. Trader, little left-hand turnaround.
So we've seen three guys in the post now that have been able to work that little hook shot for the Bronx. And he got really physical, backed his way right into the middle there in good position. Balanced scoring from both teams, too. Scott's got those 3 threes for 9, but the Bronx have shown about anybody they put out there right now is able to put a couple points up when they need it.
Pompey creates a 3 and knocks it down. It's his second of the game.
7 threes out of 8 field goals. I guess if it's going to keep you in it, you keep doing it. And Scott's getting ready to check in at that next stop, so bring another shooter out there. Probably not the scouting report that we had seen for tonight and not what we expected, but if those shots are going, they're going to take them.
Good body up that time by Zelko. Loose ball picked up by the Dons, so a turnover by the Bronx. IPFW bring it the other way. Posley over the defense, quickly to Carruthers for 3, and that one was right on mark, just a little long.
A little too much on that. Q's getting a little fired up here. Great little touch pass, though, by Zelko to get it to him. That was a nice play to kick that around. That's, not a bad shot in that case, just a little too much oomph on it.
Trader curls out, and rebound chased down by Posley.
Another good hustle play. Dons are still, we've had this game kind of not exactly going really one way or the other for these teams, but the Dons are keeping themselves pretty chipper here as we're coming about 15 minutes into this.
We hit the 5-minute mark. Pompey, can he get another one? No, but Carruthers, he had it. I thought he was going to throw it down. They had a tie-up between Best and Line.
We've seen a lot of that out of Q this season. He gets himself up around the rim, and it is very impressive at times. I'm agreeing with you. I thought he was going to grab that and hammer that bad boy down, but, tried to do a little touch up there around the rim and just couldn't get it to tip in.
Possession arrow goes to the Dons. Best will inbounds underneath his own basket. And quick shot by Carruthers, and it gets the friendly roll.
Always nice to get something off an inbound play like that, and Q went with the quick shot. Don's just their second 2-point field goal, so, it's, again, we're going to take those when we can get them at this point, it seems, against this defense from Texas A&M.
Dons with that 2-point lead. They'd be pretty pleased to be leading at this point. I don't think they've played particularly well. Hook shot won't go, and Carruthers up high for the rebound.
Another athletic move. Yeah, I think that's not going to disagree with you at that point. 36% from the field and 5 turnovers and all these threes. Now, Best hits one. Well, all right, that's a little more kind of the three-pointers that you're thinking of. Not a, Tyler, if he gets set, runs that in the offense. Forced shot there, a little rushed on that one. Get himself a little bit out of the game plan at this point. But yeah, to have a 2-point lead at this juncture, you've held the other team to 40% shooting. The defense has not done badly when they've really had to body up down there. Here, particularly in the last 5 or 6 minutes, they've started to figure out these post players, just like this. That's really good defense by Tyler. Preston didn't get the rebound. Came in and cleaned it up to Robinson. And that's too bad. Tyler had a great defensive play that time. Maybe a foul, but you're going to let that guy body up just fine.
So that ties it back up at 25. Tap up and almost a steal, and Carruthers comes back with it. Bodies hit the deck. Pompey attacks the basket around the big fella, gets the layup.
Aggressive play, that's what you need to do sometimes. And again, good hustle. You got to clean up a couple of, won't call it a garbage bucket at all by any means, but you got to be able to clean up and get a couple of points like that every now and then.
Pompey now has 8 points. And the Dons with a tip by Best with the steal. Pompey push it again. Into the lane and fouled by, I believe, Puente.
Yeah, good aggressive play again for Brad Pompey, and keep it for IPFW.
And we've got a break in the action. Dons lead it by 2. Brad and I will be right back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Happy spring! It's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the alumni directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students. We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
Coming out of the timeout, and we see this aggressive drive again by Pompey. That is nice little flip up and underneath. The big man didn't really know what to do with him right there as he went right by him.
Pompey showing that aggressiveness to the basket.
Again, play out of the timeout here. We'll see what Coach Fife sets up, trying to get an easy deuce. Or throw it back and set it up again.
Shepard extremely quick. A lot of quick guards on this Texas Pan Am team.
And we've seen 4 or 5 of them here in the first half.
Pompey into the defense, kicks it, and bounds off the Dons.
I was going to say, I think off of Hawkins down there perhaps, but Pompey again driving into the middle of that, kicking it out. That's the way to attack this and to stay aggressive against it. You know, they're taking these threes and knocking them down, but I know Coach Fife is wanting to try and generate some easier baskets here. I don't know if the Dons have had, but we had the one layup here from Pompey on the drive and maybe one other. That's been it this first half.
Trader stripped by Scott. Numbers not in his favor. Pull it up on the wing. Good quick hands by DeWitt.
And a smart play, set it up. Earlier in the season, honestly, probably would have taken it about 2-on-4 against the defense there and not getting anything out of that. You can see the learning process, again, going on here.
And stolen away by Line. Hawkins lost it.
Yeah, just, you know, a little sloppy on the pass there, trying to flip it up and over. Forgot 6'11", has arms as well. He puts him up. He's about 7'8". From toe to fingertip.
Shepard working the perimeter. Pompey checks him. Trying to free up Puente.
Yeah, Scott is having a bear of a time trying to run him down.
Line trying to draw a foul, won't go. Dons have 2 guys fight for the rebound, and it goes out of bounds.
That's another possession where Tyler Best has this great defensive effort. Straight up down there, got the hand on the ball, and we gave up the rebound basket a couple possessions ago and lose it out of bounds there. So maybe stick with it. Playing really well against 6'11". Line has 6 points, but he's only 2 of 6 from the field.
Fresh 35. Shepard almost lost it, but recovers. Dons lead it by 2. Low-scoring game, 27-25. Minute 30 to play.
We saw 61-56 the last time they played, so this is we're right on par kind of where this first matchup went.
Line thought about the 18-footer out there. Pompey almost a steal. Shepard has it stripped again, and Best has it, almost stolen from behind. Now get it ahead to Carreras.
Team defense that time. Everybody had 3 or 4 hands on the ball there, just really forcing those guards to do their penetrating, but they're really not going anywhere when they get inside.
Best going one-on-one, and he's going to be fouled on the push.
Yeah, a little bump on the way to the basket. He got a good first step on Line that time, and he put the little bump on him. Wow, we've only had 7. Is that only 7 fouls? 8 fouls in this first half, I think. between both teams. 5 on Pan Am and just 3 on the Dons. So I guess that's part of the reason why we've moved so quickly through this. And again, we talked about the free throws on Sunday. We're sitting here coming up with a minute to go in the half. We still haven't shot a free throw at the Dons' end of the floor, just like Sunday.
Pan Am has shot 7. They've knocked down 5 out of 7. Both teams with 10 field goals, but the Dons have 7 threes out of those 10. Pan Am without a three-pointer yet.
They've only taken 1.
Scott gets another one. His 4th.
Not unlike Sunday, the shots are just going down. DeWitt had a couple of errant shots here in the first half, but 8 threes, and that's totally the difference. That's 24 points for the Dons. With nothing else, they're only down 1.
24 of their 30 points outside the arc. Trader hits the side of the basket and Best with the rebound. I tell you what, the Bronx really attack after a turnover or a rebound.
That was great defense again by Tyler, though, and he had a size advantage on Trader that time and really forced him to shank that off the side of the board.
Chance for a big momentum hoop here at the end. 7 on the clock. See if it's Scott. Will go. Looks a little short, and the rebound by Puente. They're holding the sound, but the Dons will take a 5-point lead into the locker room. A strong finish to the first half. Dons lead it 30-25. Stick around, Bart. Who's your guest going to be on the Centennial Wireless halftime show?
We're hoping to hear from men's golf coach Jeff Marsh. We're going to talk a little bit of the links here in IPFW men's golf here at halftime, and we'll have stats and recap as well.
Perfect time of year to talk about golf, but I consider that 12 months out of the year. Dons lead it by 5. We're coming back with a Centennial Wireless halftime show. Right after this, you're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
Happy spring! It's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the alumni directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students.
We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
Pizza! Must eat. No way. What is this? Capsicum annum? Agaricus bisporus? Allium cepa? Can we eat this? Peppers, mushrooms, and onions. Eat your pizza, man. Honey.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Do you know IPFW has its very own pep band? The Stop Band is looking for more members and we want you to join. IPFW students even receive a credit for their participation. Perfection is not required, just enthusiasm and a desire to share your school spirit. Check out our website for more information. Don't just play, stomp.
Welcome back once again to the Centennial Wireless Halftime Report. IPFW leading Texas Pan American 30-25. Brad Brown standing by with our special halftime guest.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pat, on our Centennial Wireless halftime report. Golf coach Jeff Marsh of the Dons Golf Program joining us here. We're going to hit the links, I guess, as we're getting toward that spring season here now. Coach, give us an idea of, talk a little about the golf program. You all are getting into your spring season, but you've had a lot of golf action over the last few months already.
Yeah, we had a full season in the fall. The men played 6 events, and the ladies played 5 events, which then culminated. We hosted our first event as a Division I school in the middle of October, and it went very well. I was very proud of the teams throughout the entire fall, and they're just coming along much better than I'd hoped, so we're doing good.
Give us an idea of kind of the makeup of your team, just kind of people not familiar with college golf. Kind of tell us a little bit about what you've got, some of the kids that you've got working with here.
On the ladies' side, we're made up of 5. We've got 2 sophomores and 3 freshmen, so we're extremely young. On the ladies' side, Allison Rathman, a freshman from Franklin Central High School out of Indianapolis, is leading our way, not only on the golf course, but in the classroom. She's a 4.0 student as well. So very pleased with her efforts. Stephanie Hoppus is a sophomore from Kokomo, who's our captain of the ladies' team. She's doing a wonderful job and keeping them motivated, and they're just doing a great job. And on the men's side, we're a little bit more diversified. We've got a couple seniors, Patrick Leffers, Craig Souter, and then we drop down to Matt Fry, Patrick Floria, juniors, Nathan Hoff's a sophomore, Zach Buchanan's a redshirt who's in a sophomore year of eligibility, and then got a couple freshmen that are playing well, and one of them redshirt, but Patrick Kelly is a freshman. Once again, not only on a golf course with a 74 tournament average, is leading in the classroom with a 4.0. So very pleased with them. Very pleased with them.
What does it mean to you to have a new golfer coming in? Patrick, we know what his pedigree is in his high school success. What does it mean to have a new golfer who can really be a leader on the golf course for you?
Oh, it's very positive. It's pushing the upperclassmen to play better. And in essence, I know it's a broad comparison, but if you look when Tiger went on the tour, he pushed the older players to become that much better and has elevated their game, and he's doing that already just by his performance and everything. So, no, it's been a tremendous asset to our program.
Good analogy, though, with the Tiger there. Talk about your season coming up here, just starting your spring season. Give the folks an idea, kind of the timing of how this will stretch out, some of the places you might be playing over the course of the next few months.
We actually started formalized practice today, but on March 8th, we'll fly down to Jacksonville, Florida for a week and get some good outside practice in for a few days. And then Butler hosts a tournament down in Jacksonville, so we're going to play there. They then host another tournament in Indianapolis, and both teams will go to that event as well. The men will then travel to Richmond, Kentucky, and play at Eastern Kentucky's spring tournament. The ladies will then go down to Dayton, and University of Cincinnati and Dayton are co-hosting. The men then travel to Wright State. The ladies will come back and go to Loyola, and then the ladies go over to Toledo and play, and then the men will end up down in Dayton at their event. So somewhat not as much travel this spring as we do in the fall, but still very good competitive tournaments. The ladies are really looking forward to the Toledo event because there's going to be a good competitive field at that event. So
anytime you can start your season in Jacksonville, you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
That's good. When you take a look at, we see the basketball teams have trouble scheduling in Division I in this independent status that IPFW is. How does that work for golf?
It does hurt us a little bit because teams that are already in conferences, when they're hosting an event, or they're looking at other teams already that are in their conference that are going to get a nod to get in the tournament, and then we end up falling on the second or third list of the main list. I have to work very hard and get relationships with the coaches to get them to be able to get in. You know, teams like Xavier are hosting a tournament next year, which would be perfect for our schedule, but because we're not in a conference and we're not up to that level yet, it's extremely difficult for us to get in. But some of the coaches are noticing that we're becoming more and more competitive and allowing us an opportunity to come and play in their event. And then now with us hosting our own event, that helps tremendously, that it's kind of a reciprocal situation. They come play in ours, we get to go play in theirs. But it still does hurt us not being in a conference, not only with tournament scheduling, but also with recruiting.
That success will open up some chances for you. Wish you some good luck this season.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay, good. Jeff Marsh joining us here, the golf coach of IPFW. We're going to continue with more on the Centennial Wireless Halftime Report when we return to the Coliseum after this on UPN Fort Wayne.
That boat was all right. You know, if she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales, you're looking at $2,400 a month. University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Oh, yes, to the 30, to the 50, to the 30 of Durham. He's going down the sideline, and it's up!
If legislation being considered now in the U.S. Congress passes, you won't see your local team or your government or local events and news on this TV channel. Telecom giants want to end the funding source for this and other local channels, and with such action, end your rights to watch or produce local programming. Don't let local access become won't see TV. Go to SaveMyFreeSpeech.net or AllianceCM.org now and learn how you can help. Become informed and contact your representatives in Washington. The time for your action is now. Otherwise, this is all you'll see here soon.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
Happy spring! It's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the alumni directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students.
We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
After the Centennial Wireless halftime show, the Dons have 11 field goals. 8 of them have come outside the arc, Brad.
Yeah, and early on, getting a couple in transition, Justin Hawkins stops, pops, and he hits for 3, and then working it again. I think we're going to kick it back around, and we're going to see another 3 here as the offense kept going. Hawk hit a couple of them early. Those are his 6 points right there, but good to see him just get out there and do that shooting there in the first half.
Hawkins actually has 8 points. Got to give her Garrett boys all their credit.
No, I'm looking at Hawkins 6 on my monitor.
It's Pompeo. That's right. I'm dyslexic.
That's all right. Well, we saw Pompeo there, I believe, hitting one of his, and we'll see some more of those threes going down. Here's Pompeo on the drive. Looking good. Got around the big man there with nice. He was a couple of threes and another field goal there in the first half. And DeWitt Scott, I'll tell you what, he's been feeling it for, about a month now, it seems like. And he looked good again here. Once he got a couple of shots going, boom, and here, boom again. A dozen points, 4 out of 8. Not quite the percentage we've seen out of him from three-point range, but still, they're going down. You keep it going.
4 out of 8 outside the arc. He'll take 50% from 3 anytime.
Yeah, and here again in transition, drive, kick. Pompey this time, one of his 2 3-pointers there in the first half as the Dons, 8 out of 20 from three-point range. That's a pretty decent number, but 20 of those 29 shots coming from three-point land. I think we're going to try and see some more inside play from the Dons in the second half.
Texas Pan-Am 0 for 1 from three-point land. We're going to take this final timeout on our Centennial Wireless halftime show. When we come back, we'll have the second half action for you. Right after this, you're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Do you have everything you need? Paper, pencils? We only ask that you do your best. And made you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Did you know IPFW has its very own pep band? The Star Band is looking for more members and we want you to join. IPFW students even receive a credit for their participation. Perfection is not required, just enthusiasm and a desire to share your school spirit. Check out our website for more information. Don't just play, stomp.
Happy spring! It's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the Alma directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students.
We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
Just seconds away from second half action here at the Coliseum. Brad Brown and Pat Hoffman here with you as we take a look at the numbers from this first half. Dons leading by a 30-25 margin. We talked about all of that three-point shooting coming in the first half for the Dons. It's been enough. When you hit 8 3-pointers, you can hit 8 3-pointers in a game and call that a good night. When you go 8 of 20 at a half, you're going to take that. You take a look at some of the other numbers here. The field goal percentages pretty well even, but it's those three-pointers making the difference. The Bronx making up with it with 5 out of 7 from the line. But 7 turnovers both ways. Some of the big numbers coming for Pan Am are inside. 18 points in the paint that you don't see there. That's Line, Trader, Edwards. Those guys getting it done. As we take a look at leading scorers, DeWitt Scott, those points coming from three-point range. He's got a dozen to lead the way for the Dons. Brad Pompey also with 8 points, and Justin Hawkins with 6. Some balanced scoring on the other side for Texas Pan Am as they have gotten 6 from Line, 6 from Edwards, and 5 from Schenkel. 4 from Trader, a couple from Robinson, a couple from Puente. So aside from Scott with those dozen points, nobody really standing out. But we'll see if those three-point shots keep coming, keep going for the Dons, or if they try and shuffle that up a little bit here in the second half.
Original starting five back on the floor for both teams. Nobody in foul trouble. Kano Edwards gets the first bucket. Cuts it down to a 3-point game.
That's the other number we'll keep an eye on. They only called 5 fouls on the Bronx, 3 on the Dons that whole half. So these guys they can just hack themselves senseless here in the second half and have a go at it all night if they'd like. But a clean half, I think we'll probably perhaps see another one. Maybe not. On the floor already.
Pompey open for the three. Likes that. Won't go. That's the kind of three you like, though. He had a wide open look.
Coach Fife up quickly, not happy with that possession. Not sure if he was unhappy that they didn't get a rebound or that they're still taking those threes. But we'll see if they change things up, try and look for some more layups here in the second half.
I'm going to guess they're not going to take 20 more threes, but Edwards with another quick deuce. If they chuck up 40 threes, that'd be
an interesting post-game interview with Coach at that point. Pan Am's going to keep doing what they did right there, though, I think. Edwards, Line, those big guys inside. That's there, I think, if they want it. The Dons are going to have to look a little harder on that interior defense. 15 to shoot this time. Man-to-man this time from the Bronx. See if the Dons can find that matchup again.
Carruthers, he had the big second half the last game. Best working on the big guy and can't get it to go.
Decent little move, a little up and under that time, but Line held his position really well.
4 quick points to start the second half for Texas Pan Am, looking to add to that run. A bucket here and they'll take the lead. They keep looking inside, use that size advantage. Edwards gets his third bucket of the half.
The big man to the just not quite as big a man, but Line and Edwards being able to hook up there. Good little pass from the 6'11 center.
All 6 points in the second half scored by Alex Robinson, who is a 6'6 freshman.
1-2-3 right inside, and they come back and take the lead.
Robinson been starting late in the season for Pan Am. You can see why as DeWitt Scott knocks down his 5th three of the game.
I don't know. Maybe they will check up 23s here in the second half. I'm not really sure what to think at this point. Coach Fife is still up. I don't know that he was that happy. Yeah, you're going to take the 3 points, but this offense has been interesting to say the least tonight.
Best gambled on the steal. Got back okay. Line at the top of the key. That's where you like to see him. But he's shown a pretty good touch on the inlet pass. He'll shoot the 12-footer this time and get the roll. He was pumped up about that, let out a howl.
Yeah, a little bit of range. I saw him doing that in the pregame. I don't think he's got much more than that. When he comes out to the top like that, that brings Bust out on the defense, though. They've got Hawkins trying to guard Edwards down there, and Justin's given up quite a bit of size on the post, and that's turned into a pretty good matchup for the Bronx.
Hawkins will fire the three, won't go. Pompey, the little guy, fights for the rebound. He averages almost 4 a game.
And just the 5th offensive board for the Dons. They had 0 second chance points there in the first half. They had a lot of one-and-done possessions. And of course, when you're hitting threes, you're going to have some of that. But a good opportunity there to kind of keep your offense in sync if you give them an opportunity to score after a rebound.
The intensity has picked up for both teams here to start the second half. Clearly at halftime, I'm sure the speech was, look, you got 20 minutes left in the half for both teams.
That's it, 20 minutes left in the season. You're right, this is it for everybody.
Yeah, don't leave anything for the offseason. Best going to take it strong, left it a little short, and rebound pulled down by the Bronx. Shepard will bring it down.
Twice by Tyler, another good move, just a little short on the shot. You can't complain about the move that time.
Shepard to Trader, back to Shepard. Not much of a threat from outside. Likes to penetrate. Line shot, no, and Hawkins with a rebound.
Tyler might have gotten away with his body that time, but got the hand up on that shot, and good defensive stop.
All tied up at 33. Final 16 minutes of the 2005-2006 season. The first at IPFW under Dane Fife, and the shot by Carruthers won't go.
One-on-one that time. Decent shot for Q. Trader doing the same thing here at the other end. Put that up and knocked it down. So Pan Am finding a little bit of rhythm with their offense here in the second half. Come out and make a little run. The Dons with just the 3-pointer from Scott here in the first 4 minutes and change.
Dons 1 for 6 in the second half for the field. We've got a break in action. We'll take this time out. Dons trailed by 2. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Oh, yes, to the 30, to the 50, to the 30 of Durham. He's going down the sideline, and it's up!
If legislation being considered now in the U.S. Congress passes, you won't see your local team or your government or local events and news on this TV channel. Telecom giants want to end the funding source for this and other local channels. And with such action, end your rights to watch or produce local programming. Don't let local access become won't see TV. Go to SaveMyFreeSpeech.net or AllianceCM.org now and learn how you can help. Become informed and contact your representatives in Washington. The time for your action is now. Otherwise, this is all you'll see here soon.
Happy spring! It's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the alumni directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students.
We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
We're back once again. IPFW trailing it by 2. They led it by 5.5, but shooting just 1 out of 6 from the floor. Meanwhile, a young freshman, Alex Robinson, came in with 6 quick points. The big fella, Colin Line, with a bucket as well to give the Broncos the 2-point lead. DeWitt Scott really working hard trying to break off, but all over him is Dexter Schenkel.
Almost a 5-second call against Carruthers there as Robinson was defending.
Best finally happy not to have Line on him. Can't get the shot to go, but Pompey gets it, fires the 3, and knocks it down.
Another 3. Best, I'm not sure it's a fair trade. I guess you got 6'11", and you know, Line, he's sitting right here. I don't say anything bad about him. He's not as strong as Edwards is, but you got 6'9" Edwards who's just going to put some muscle on you. It's kind of a toss-up. He's sitting 2 feet from me. I can't say anything bad right now.
He can reach both of us with that wingspan. Dons lead it by a point. They have been living and perhaps dying outside the arc. Shot up, and that will go for Kano Edwards.
Nice touch over there again. Edwards has found his rhythm here. He's in double figures now.
I think I got Edwards and Robinson mixed up, 12 and 21 again. I think I'm seeing opposite tonight.
You know, it's the middle of the week. Let's get you to the weekend. You'll be fine.
Best muscling inside and lost it again. Shepard so quick. Wow. Kick it back, and a nice little jumper for Schenkel.
Tell you what, Shepard is about as quick a guard as I think I've seen in my games here this season. He is moving himself up and down the floor in a hurry.
One of the all-time leading assist men for Texas Pan Am. Averages 5 a game.
The Dons are making their way in there. Best did that on the last possession, too. Q kind of right there as well. They need to keep going with that. They're getting up around the basket and backing it out.
Almost a turnover.
8 to shoot.
Pompey got to take it inside over to Crothers. Got to shoot it now, and he gets it to go. Maybe that'll get Q started.
That was needed definitely, down to a couple seconds on the shot clock. Q put it up simply because he had to, and ended up finding the middle of the basket.
That's a little disheartening for a defense to play 33 seconds of good D and then give up a bucket. Schrader's going to be fouling his way up. He'll shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, he's working the middle there very well on the possessions when he's gotten an opportunity to go right to the center. Hawkins bodied him up well, but just a bit too much. Coach Fife's looking down his bench there for something.
I think Pompey looks a little winded. He's really been scrapping.
Yeah, they've had quite a go of it in the backcourt with these guys from Pan Am tonight. I don't know that Shepard or Schenkel has sat the entire night. Just briefly, because they've been bringing Puente in. Now they're going with 3 guards out there right now. Now this has some matchup potential for the Dons if they can figure out, get a couple of big guys, maybe get Q lined up against one of these little guards. Just as I say that, they bring line back in and put a 6'11" in the middle.
Schrader's free throw is good. Schrader 4 out of 4 from the line. He has 8 points. Edwards leads the Bronx with 14.
7 out of 9 from the line for Pan Am. We're 20, almost 27 minutes into this. 0 free throws for the Dons.
Well, when you're settling for jump shots time after time, obviously you're not attacking the basket. You're not going to get many foul calls. We did see the one against IPFW on the three-pointer, but that's rare.
And that was it. Jelko in for Hawkins. Justin's played a lot of minutes here tonight, getting a pretty rare break for him this evening. Played 17 minutes there in that first half, so 3 guards out there and a couple of big guys, and really both lineups doing that right now. Carruthers is kind of the X factor here, though, as he can play that swing position.
Key stretch right here in my mind with Posley in for Pompey. Bask will shoot the first 2 free throws of the night for the Dons.
Drew the foul there. Coach Davenport, the bench right in front of us here, not happy with the call that went against the big guy. Best, though, nice aggressive play about 3 times down the floor here in the second half. He hasn't been able to finish yet. He put that one on the rim at least, but important for him to get himself some free throws to go now.
Yeah, and he gets it to go, and that puts him in the scoring column. That's his first point of the night. Does have 4 rebounds and 5 assists.
Yeah, he's done a good job. Again, we've seen the big man in the post at both ends, but down here for the Dons, they're getting it in the middle and kicking it out for some of those threes. That's still an assist, and fortunately right there, 2 for 2 from the line.
Cuts it back to a 1-point game. Puente, he's their 3-point threat. He's taken the only 3-pointer of the night for Texas Pan Am. As we said, he shoots 44% on the year. And good hands by DeWitt Scott.
Great anticipation that time. He was tailing Schenkel really well that entire possession, and Puente kind of sold his pass before he tossed it there, looking the whole way.
Dons with a chance to take the lead. Best wants it. In the lane, nice little spin, and he'll get his first field goal.
Good move. The big man line didn't get very far off his feet. I don't think he's much of a jumper, but he got him to hesitate that way a little bit, spun back, and gives the PFW the lead.
Tyler's got a little look in his eye right now. Doesn't like being held scoreless as he was in the first half, but nice to see him contribute in other ways, but you need some low post scoring, that's evident.
Yeah, more than anything, nice to score inside for the Dons.
Edwards going to have it stripped away. Jelko with the steal.
Good job, Egerich and Best both staying down that time against Edwards and Line, and coming up with the steal. Maybe the Dons can make a run here in the middle part of the second half. Tyler wants it right now.
He scored his last 2 times down, takes it right in. That time won't go. Hit our cameraman in a rather precarious spot. We hope he's okay. We've got a timeout in action. We will take this break, and we'll be right back. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Pizza! Must eat. No way. What is this? Capsicum annum? Agaricus bisporus? Allium cepa? Can we eat it? Peppers, mushrooms, and onions. Eat your pizza, man. Honey.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
To live action. Bronx with the basketball. Happy to report that cameraman Dan Westrick underneath the basket, he's okay.
He survived it.
It's just a loose ball. It wasn't all that hard, but just went to the wrong spot, if you know what I mean. Well, Shepard, good battling inside, 6 feet tall, and he gets the rebound and the putback.
Yeah, very aggressive. He's a strong one, too. We've seen him muscle his way around out at the top, but doing it underneath that time.
That gave him an extra inch. He's only 5'11".
6 foot with the shoes, maybe, when he gets taped up. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Nice pass, and Posley called for the walk.
Yep, he got up in the air that time and just kind of got lost. Good look, though, by Tyler. They double-teamed him that time as he's wanted the ball. He's calling for it now. They doubled him, found the open man, but again, the Dons have had a number of opportunities here in the second half where they're getting the chance to score and just not coming up with it.
Going back into Edwards. He's been the hot hand, especially in this half. Carruthers up high for the rebound.
Nice little hook shot. That was a finesse move out of the strong center. They're really tightening up that defense way out at the top. Dons have been close to 5-second call a couple times here in the second half.
Posley working around the side.
Good move, though. A little shake and bake.
Zelko chases it down. Back to Posley. Finds Carruthers in the lane and fouled before the shot.
He's really hoping that possession would just go all the way to the rim. The Dons did a great hustle on that time. Jelko running it down. Posley did a great job there. Great move by Q. He got fouled on his way to the basket, though. And fresh shot clock for IPFW.
Brad Pompey getting a nice breather right now. Posley playing some very important minutes. Jelko with the soft shot won't go. Edwards with a rebound.
Left him open. He was a little surprised by that pass, I think, when it came to him. Thought maybe it was going to go to Tyler.
Dons trail it by 1. We're inside 10 minutes for the season.
Well, they're calling it a bump inside. I have a hunch. We've only seen 14 fouls this entire game. Perhaps the gentlemen in stripes here are going to tighten this thing up a little bit. We're seeing a little more bumping inside. Guys are starting to ride each other a little more down there. And, of course, with fatigue, you're going to see that quite a bit in the second half. If they call that, this pace of this game is going to slow down in a hurry.
Alex Robinson checks back into the game.
Edwards getting himself a break. He's led the way here in the second half for Pan Am. And he said, Pompey, that break didn't last long. They're getting back in, and Q's going to get, I believe, one of a rare break on the game here.
Pompey with 11 points. He's He's hit three-pointers tonight. He and DeWitt Scott have been the outside threat. Scott 5 of 9 outside the arc.
A little sloppy pass into the post that time, and full court pressure coming from Pan Am now.
Pan Am's up to shooting 49% after the hot start here in the second half.
Yeah, they've been solid here. 8 of 11 in the second half. You'll take that clip anytime.
Best underneath, a little bit too far. Now it's Posley. He got a step on his man. Elevates, won't go. Zeke crashing the boards, but it's Line throwing the elbow, but I think they're calling DeWitt Scott.
Ooh, Coach Fife won't be pleased with that one.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad call. I think there was a foul that it was a late whistle though on the foul, and then I thought Line out of frustration kind of tossed the elbow. Let's take another look.
Yeah, there it is underneath. You see Line with it. Got slapped right there. It was like Jelko might have gotten him, and then they threw that elbow right at the end.
Yeah, that's the last thing I saw, but I think he got him on the arm before.
And then they got one back the other way. They got Line on, I believe, away from the ball on an illegal screen, maybe a push. So again, a few more whistles here. These officials, I don't think these guys are winding their season down, but maybe they are. They're getting their money's worth here tonight.
Hey, I'm all for letting them play. I think we'll go with that every time.
And that was, we saw that in the first half, though. We saw the pace kind of keep up in a very brisk first half when they let him go. See, they're calling that again. They got Best on that exact same call. He was set, but kind of rolled with that screen a little bit, threw an elbow out a little bit. Makeup call, maybe not. It's probably the same call that they just made at the other end.
One ref making up.
Right. They're covering each other now.
He did take that little elbow out there. All right, let's get back to a good game here. For the most part, that's what we've had tonight. It's a 1-point lead for Texas Pan Am, and going for the steal. Posley real quick, comes up with it. He'll hand it off to Pompey. Downs with a chance to take the lead. And Pompey going to be fouled. We went from no fouls to now it's refs trying to get control. Maybe trying to reel him in a little bit. Things get a little physical.
And that's fine. You don't want to let that get out of hand. You got to do it when you can, or they'll start throwing those elbows, this, that, in a hurry. Team foul 6 on Pan Am with that one. That was the 3rd on Shepherd. So advantage for the Dons. They're going to get to the bonus on that next person.
That's the only one in any kind of foul trouble. He has 3, so we'll have to keep an eye out of here. With 8.5 to play in the game. Dons trailing by 1. Season finale on their home floor, looking for a Division I school record 10th win. May not sound like all that much, but it definitely would be a big positive step in the right direction in Dane Five's first season.
And when we came into this thing, as we talked all night, they were thinking maybe 5, maybe 6 would be a good number, and never really thinking that it would get up to 10. But here we are with this 1-point game with about 8 and change to go, right there on the doorstep.
Long 2, and that's good for Rick Scott.
First basket of the second half for DeWitt after he came out and drained 5 threes in the first. They could free up another guy here with him, and that's going to open things up a little bit. Coach Davenport is all over this official right here looking for another moving screen down there.
That's Scott's first non-3-pointer. And it was almost 3, just had the toes on the line there.
Could have been about 2 1/4.
And Shepherd with a drive. He was so strong. Posley called for the block.
Yeah, couldn't keep up with him that time, and Pan Am's going to get themselves another chance on the possession here after the break.
We've got a break in action. We've got a good one. Dons leading by 1. We'll take this time out. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
That book was all right. If she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales. You're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Did you know IPFW has its very own pep band? The Star Band is looking for more members, and we want you to join. IPFW students even receive a credit for their participation. Perfection is not required, just enthusiasm and a desire to share your school spirit. Check out our website for more information. Don't just play, stomp.
Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
Back once again to live action. The Broncos had the possession, put up a shot that did not fall. Don's got the rebound and another foul, this time going against the Broncos.
Yeah, team foul number 7 here in the second half, so 7:50 to go. IPFW, this is really similar to Sunday's game where no free throws in the first half, and then all of a sudden with about 8 minutes to go, the Dons are in the bonus, and I have a chance to maybe shoot quite a few of these down the stretch.
Well, let's see if they can continue to shoot those free throws well. 12 out of 12, as you said, all in the second half last game. 9 of 11 in the game prior to that. And right now they're, what, 3 for 3?
All of them from Tyler Buss. See if we can make it number 4 here.
Dons lead it by 2. It's going to come down to who wants it more here. Final game of the season for both teams. Best gets 1 out of 2. Puente with the rebound.
Good to see that announcer's jig still works here at the end of the season.
Texas Pan Am, they came a long way. Zelker with those long arms going to help cause a turnover.
That's an interesting matchup there as he stepped out against Schenkel. Little lanky arm, got a hand on it, just enough.
Don's got to start maximizing their possessions. Whether they score or not, got to get good looks at the basket. Best working on Edwards. Will get the bucket of the foul.
About as good a look as they're going to get on in the second half. Best has taken that ball. He wants it since the halftime break. We saw him working against Line. That time he worked against Edwards, up and under, got him off his feet. Going to get 2 and maybe 3.
Might need to get the cut man there. He took a shot to the forehead.
Oh, he's checking it. He seems to be all right.
Cameraman Dan Westrick, I think, giving us this shot. He was the man who was banged up himself. Yeah, he took the elbow right there.
Just got nicked.
To the eye. Good job by Dan Westrick as the free throw won't fall. Best misses 2 in a row now.
Yeah, and I got Z on the rebound there. Yeah, hey, we don't ever mention it. You see Dan there on the left side of your screen in the red shirt, right under the basket. That is a danger zone down there, let me tell you. That is like, sometimes, you'd be better off being out on a hockey rink than you would be under that basket sometimes. I think this might have been the play earlier where Dan got himself. Yeah, you can take a guess, Dan.
I was headed to the region just below the camera, if you know what we mean.
Well done,
took it, he's smiling.
Way to hang, guy.
That timeout couldn't have come at a better time. Inside, missed close by Edwards, but then he's going to be fouled. He's kicking himself on that one.
He had a good look right there. That thing bounced around about 4 spots on the rim, but wouldn't go down. Coach Fife talking to DeWitt Scott right there, telling him to keep an eye on those guards. They are wreaking havoc all night long. 4 points plus right now for IPFW. 7 minutes to go. An opportunity here, depending on how these free throws go, could really get themselves in a position to make a run and maybe put a couple possessions between them.
Edwards, a 70% free throw shooter.
That was team foul 7. We just saw the graphic right there. 7 on the Dons, 8 on the Bronx. So he'll get 2 here, but Pan Am's going to be in the 1-on-1 also here the rest of the way.
If it remains tight down the stretch, Larry Shepard does become a bit of a liability. He shoots only 53% for your primary ball handler, so that's something to keep in mind if it stays this tight.
Nice touch from the big man, though, as he hits a couple that time. 16 points right now. Edwards is leading the way for Pan Am and got him back within 2.
But he's up to 4 fouls now. Also has 6 rebounds. So
yeah, both big guys have 4 fouls, and let's see if they go right back inside this time. Maybe try to get Edwards out of there.
DeWitt Scott, I think, gave up a couple of foul shots there. I think he had his man fake down underneath. Almost a great play by Carruthers.
Got up around the rim that time. I don't know if it was designed that way as a little alley-oop tip or he just happened to be right there.
Aggressive move by Edwards. He's really commanding the basketball.
Yeah, and back here at this end, that's going to be 4 on Best. So the primary big man in this game, Hawkins is quickly going to come in and replace Tyler. There's still 6.5 minutes left. These are guys that need to be on the floor for both of their teams. Tyler's going to come out. Edwards is still out there.
Yeah, we went from a stretch, as we said, where there was nobody in foul trouble. Now we've got 3 guys with 4.
DeWitt Scott's out there with 3. As you said, Shepard's out there with 3 as well.
really a bad time to have to sit down Best, because he's just started to really kick things in gear with 7 points here, all coming in about the last 4 minutes.
Edwards is a 70% free throw shooter. He's showing a nice touch out there, and a chance to even things up with this one.
Looking for his 18th point, and he knocks it down, and we're all tied up at 47. That's the way the season should end.
That's it. We've ended, this game hasn't been great the whole night, but it's been tight. Both teams are a spirited effort for sure.
Good call, man. Pompey, not the best pass there. Coach Fife wondering what he was thinking on that.
Anytime you're throwing one about 60 feet down the floor, you're taking quite a chance, and that one, another turnover number 10 for IPFW.
Chance to take the lead for the Bronx. They want to go to Edwards. He's working it on Zelko. They're working a little weave under that the basket. And they'll take it into Trader this time on Hawkins, left hand, and Hawkins going to be called for the foul. He gave him a little shove.
Hawk had a good defensive effort on the first try right there, but caught him just right at the end of that whole sequence. That's been a pretty good matchup to watch. Trader and Hawkins seem a little, very similar. Body type. I don't think Trader's that much quicker, but he's shown himself, he's got really good range with his legs out there.
Well, it's always different guarding a southpaw as well.
Yeah.
So he's a lefty, and that's a little different defense. You're going to see Hawkins.
Oh, well, kind of.
Yeah, he's got a little.
The elbow came up there a little bit at the end. That's Justin's third foul as well, so it's starting to add up here.
And shooting well from the charity stripe. 13 out of 15 for the Bronx. Don's just 3 out of 5.
Little 6-0 run for Pan Am. I think all of those points coming at the line. And Coach Fife wants to take himself a little 30-second timeout.
Don's trail it by 2. They had built a 4-point lead. I think it was 47-43.
It was, yeah. 6 straight points for Pan Am. Got stuck on 47 again. The Dons haven't gotten stuck on, got stuck on 43 here in the second half. Just a couple of numbers where they've gotten stuck, and you get a stretch of 5 or 6 possessions where you're not scoring. When you get one of these seesaw games like this, and you've got both of these teams in the bonus, you come down, you're not going to score, get to the line. Try and get yourself some points anywhere you can.
Kano Edwards right now, they got to figure out a way to stop him. He led the Bronx the first time they met with 12 points. He's got 18 right now, 6 rebounds. Something tells me next offensive possession, Dons might be taking it at him defensively, see if they can get him out of this game.
Yeah, with 4 fouls, they still got the big 6'11" guy out there. He's been on the bench here in the second half. Line's got 4 fouls as well. Hasn't played a lot of these last minutes here as he's been in foul trouble. He picked up that 4th foul about midway through the second half. And the Dons, hopefully coming out of the timeout here, set play, I'm sure. They're going to see what they can trigger in from the sideline. And, they're looking at Hawkins now. Justin got a scratch on him. And now they're cleaning up a little moisture? I don't know.
I want to commend both teams and both coaching staffs. It has not been a pretty game, but I think it's just the kind of the intensity. Both teams kind of want this one, and I think the way each other team is playing is bringing out, not the prettiest type of game, because it's been a defensive struggle.
This feels almost like when we start watching championship week coming up here, all those little conferences out there like the America East, the Northeast Conference, are playing those championship games. You see those teams, they just scrap to death because that's it. You win or you're done. We don't have a turkey berth on the line here by any means, but that's the same kind of idea.
Well, you've got your entire off season, and you want to have it end on a good note, and there's Mr. Edwards again. He's up to 20 points. He just can't be stopped.
Yeah, he has been very impressive here in the second half.
Got a trap near the timeline. Dons now trail it by 4. 8 consecutive points. 5 minutes to play in the season.
Settled back into that 2-3. We saw quite a bit of man-to-man defense here in the second half.
So Hawkins, the pass goes through his hands.
Don's a bit of rut. Coach Fife, he's up off the bench, but a good look that time. They're going to get somebody coming through there on a bump. I think they might have got Hawkins. That's his 4th foul. Justin and Best with 4 personals now.
Dane's feeling it right now. This is one of the more frustrated points I've seen him this season.
Yeah, and IPFW's played really well, particularly in the second half of these last handful of games. And it's the double bonus now for Pan Am. That's team foul number 10. Best in for Hawks, so still going to have a 4-fouler out there on the line. Posley back in as well. Let's see if perhaps DJ can give a little charge to the offense here. He's been a bit of a burst in the second half.
Robinson missed the first, second one, missed them both. That's a couple of big misses. There was a chance to extend it to 6 points. Instead, it stays at 4. Dons with a 3 can cut it to 1, a 2 would cut it in half.
Pan Am's only a 67% free throw shooting team. They got a lot of guys in that 60% range. Nobody really stands out as great free throw shooters, so that's going to open the door a little bit here down the stretch.
Edwards guarding Best, who has 4 fouls. Both of them have 4 fouls.
Q on the drive, lost it. The official underneath didn't have the call, but the man out top says it's off of Carruthers' knee. Turnover number 13 on IPFW. Coming up on 4-minute mark here, and Texas Pan Am chance to go up, well, almost 3 possessions here, depending on what they get out of this one.
Edwards, can he extend his game? Won't go, but Trader fights for the rebound, but Posley, well, he's really quick on the vertical leap.
Got up high that time.
2-man game, Posley 17-footer, no, and Shepard chases down the rebound.
Good little handoff right there. I'm not sure that was exactly the shot they wanted on that possession, but DJ's just trying to generate something.
Another chance to extend it from 4. Every possession becomes critical right now. Edwards bodying up on Zelko. He's calling for the ball. He wants it. And we've got a timeout called.
Davenport's going to take a timeout. Just a 30-second timeout. Probably setting up this possession down to 15 on the shot clock. And as you said, this one here, a chance to go up 6, maybe 7. And we'll see what they come up with the timeout with. Big action at the Gate Center Friday night. Check that out.
Pacific taking on IPFW. And I tell you what, Arnie Ball's Dons have been playing fantastic. I think they've won 6 in a row.
Yeah. Big win over Ball State. Big win over Ohio State on the road.
Yeah, that was even more impressive than the home win in my mind.
Absolutely. Came back from 2 games down to win that one. If you're not doing anything Friday night, we're going to be covering high school basketball sectionals, of course, over on News Channel 15. Go to the Gate Center and watch some of that IPFW volleyball. That is great stuff.
Yeah, unless you got a seat for the Northrop sectional.
Yeah, 4,000 people they're going to have there Friday night. Wow, what a pairing.
Yeah, they're going to let so many people in there. So if you can't get in there, you might want to go check out some volleyball.
If you're not there by about 6:02, Mr. McMillan is going to shut the door. I'm going to say thank you, and we'll see you later.
Shepard driving down the lane, and it's going to be off Edwards' hands. Big turnover on the Broncos.
Break for the Dons and break for us. We'll see what IPFW comes up with out of the timeout.
We'll take this timeout. We'll be right back. Tight game. You're watching IPFW basketball on UPN 4 Wayne.
Oh, yes, to the 30, to the 50, to the 30. Oh, damn, he's going down the sideline, and it's up.
If legislation being considered now in the U.S. Congress passes, you won't see your local team or your government or local events and news on this TV channel. Telecom giants want to end the funding source for this and other local channels. And with such action, end your rights to watch or produce local programming. Don't let local access become won't see TV. Go to SaveMyFreeSpeech.net or AllianceCM.org now and learn how you can help. Become informed and contact your representatives in Washington. The time for your action is now. Otherwise, this is all you'll see here soon.
Do you have everything you need? Paper, pencils? We only ask that you do your best. And make you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Back to live action. Don's got to get it over the timeline, and Carruthers just does by perhaps a second.
Yeah, shot clock was at 26 when he got it across.
18 now, nearing the 3-minute mark. Don's trailed by 4.
12 to shoot.
Carruthers creates his own left-hand scoop shot. Big shot.
Great drive. He had a great matchup there. A big advantage for him against Robinson. That was a pretty move by Q.
Thought he was losing it on the way up, but was able to maintain it and get it in. It's a 2-point game. Need a defensive stop here. 2:45 to play. Mr. Edwards been run hard. Left hand gets another. He has 22 points.
His big man counterpart right here on the bench getting up and around and fired up about that one.
Back to a 4-point game. That's a big answer.
They need to see if Carruthers can go against Robinson again. More than anything, he's going up against a freshman. That might be his biggest advantage.
Nothing coming easy right now. Good trapping defense by the Bronx. We'll call a timeout. We'll keep it right here.
Yeah, had to burn one right there. He was, DeWitt got himself tied up in the corner, and with the double team down there, boy, between the two defenders and those two sidelines, you got about 4 guys on you right there.
Well, what's going to be key down the stretch here, Brad? 4 points. The Dons trail it by. Certainly not insurmountable, but every bucket tonight has been difficult.
Bottom line, it comes down to defense at this point. Edwards has just been unstoppable. 16 points, I believe, here in the second half. He has been 6 out of 9 from the field, and, you know, they're going to score more than 53 points. That's the bottom line. Dons need a score right here. I think it's important to get it back to 1 possession. That 4-point cushion right now for Pan Am is really playing into their favor. If the Dons can get it back down to 2 or to 1, all of a sudden, all these 3-pointers that the Dons shot, they've hit some shots inside, but that 3-point shooting kind of went away. See if they can come up with a big one here.
Pan Am is, I believe, 10 out of 16 in the second half.
Yeah, very impressive. That's a very good clip.
Dons got to do something over and back. I thought the ball was tipped.
Thought maybe there was a deflection.
There was a deflection. Whether, I mean, I have a pretty good angle on that. There was clearly a deflection.
Yeah, we saw that one pretty good. Tough time for a turnover. Very important to get a stop now.
Again, Shepard, their primary ball handler, just a 53% free throw shooter. Too early to start fouling now, but it's something to keep in mind. They're going to try and milk as much of the shot clock as they can. It's down to 15. Still only 1 3-point attempt the entire game for Pan Am. 24 for the Dons, but only 4 in the second half. Shepard on the drive. He'll shoot a couple of free throws.
It's like they got Eggerichs there on the way. Jelko with just a little bit of a body foul going up. 1 3-point shot. The fact is, I mean, it's very simple. When you've got inside guys that have been that effective, it's just been, you know, it's just the opposite of what we see from IPFW for most of the night. See 24 3-point attempts down there. They've had to do that to get some offense going. Up until really the last 10 minutes of the game.
That bugaboo sticks with Shepard as he misses the first free throw. But as we said, this was a 2-shot foul anyways, but they're in the double bonus. See if he can get the second. And he does. It's a 5-point game.
Anytime, though, that double bonus, yeah, it's 1 free throw. Anytime, though, you can get any kind of a miss out of that double bonus, that's just 1 point really closer, essentially, that you are, or 1 point less that you're not away.
Shepard going to be called for guarding Pompey a little too closely. Now it's a chance for the Dons to cash it at the line. Pompey, a very good free throw shooter, 87% on the year. Dons have some excellent free throw shooters. DeWitt's got 85, Pompey 87. Those are the 2 guys you like to have it in their hands late in games.
One more 1-and-1. That was team foul number 9. So big here to convert the front end.
And DeWitt knocks it down. Excuse me, Pompey, sorry. His 12th point. Just his first free throw attempt.
14-4 scoring advantage at the line right now for Pan Am. When you're in a 4-point game, that stands out.
What are the Dons from the line?
4 out of 6, 5 out of 7 with that one.
They've missed just 4 free throws the last 3 games total.
That's worth something, and if they can get the ball back here, that could play into their hands down this last minute and change.
You know, they're going to try to get it to Edwards. He has been the man. 22 big points, most of them here in the second half. Working on the clock, minute 20 to go. Carruthers stepping it up.
No, 5-second call right out there. Coach Fife is all the way to midcourt. That was easily a 5-second call. They weren't counting it clear out here. Not close enough maybe on the defense.
Shepard inside, and it won't go.
Wow, I think Coach Fife lost his gum out there somewhere, too. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Hey, minutes to go. Chance to get right back at it here.
All right, Don's down 3. Don't need a three-pointer by any means. And have Edwards fouled out of the game. Bodied up on Bessie. The Dons will now be in a double bonus, and Best will get 2 free throws. And the biggest bonus of all is Coach Fife picks up his gum. It will be 2 free throws and Mr. Edwards out of the game.
So that's gonna pay off at this other end. That takes away Pan Am's #1 option, for sure.
He has been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, the big to-do out here at midcourt was with Carruthers defending. I believe it was Puente that was dribbling it back and forth out here. Looked to me like he was within. They like to keep him within 5 or 6 feet before they do that 5-second count. I didn't see the official give. They usually put their arms out to say not closely guarded, but he wasn't counting either. Really vague about what he wanted there. You could see coming back the other way here as they're working inside. There's the foul coming in. Just enough as Edwards riding Best just right on his back there. Probably not the way you wanted to foul out. That 5th foul, you want to get your money's worth generally, but break for IPFW. Chance to get it to 1. 55.2. Now hit a couple of free throws here. You get a stop and a chance to take the lead.
55 seconds in the season unless we have overtime.
Hey, we're not going anywhere. It's our last game, too, so we're both off work tomorrow, too.
Good point.
Settle in. Let's play another 5 minutes. This it has not been pretty all night, as you said, but it has not been too bad to watch.
I'd certainly would like the Dodge chances if they could get it to overtime with Edwards now out of the game. Yep. Best, huge free throw right here, and he knocks it down. Perfect. He has struggled from the line, only 60%, lowest of the starters for the Dons, but he comes up with a big one there, and on the night, 4 out of 6. This will cut it to 1 if he can knock it down. And looks true, and it is. 1-point game. Dons need to belly up and play some solid defense. The big fella, Colin Line, back into the game after an extended time of the bench. He replaces Edwards. So the Dons, no need to foul. Good drive. They try to go inside, knocked out of bounds. It'll go back to the Broncos. 23 on the shot clock, 43 on the game clock.
Oh, DeWitt Scott had the last hand on it there. Almost had the steal. Line has not been as effective offensively.
Well, and he's been out of the game for a long time.
Correct. But even in his time in there, Edwards was just so strong around the basket.
And he's a 58% shooter, so if he gets it close to the basket with a good look, you might just want to foul him, although Best has 4. And the shot will go, barreled it up, and what's the call here?
Pan him on the back, I think. Absolutely. They got 15 Schenkel coming in, the little man of all people, coming in there on the rebound.
So the Dons with a chance to take the lead. They'll shoot 2 free throws at the other end, and it'll be DeWitt Scott who shoots 85%.
Great defense by Tyler Best that time. Just held his ground, 2 hands straight up, diverted that shot. How about with this clock stopped a chance to tie and take the lead?
And perfect. He has such a nice stroke at the line. He is now up to 18 points. That's just his first free throw of the night.
35-5 on the game clock. So potentially, and they're going to call a timeout here as Pan Am. Coach Davenport wants to talk it over. Potentially, that half second, say what you want about it. They could play for essentially the last shot after this free throw, depending on if we get a chance to see Scott knock it down.
Well, this is the way to finish the season. The Dons, if they could pull this one out, a lot of grit. It looked pretty bad about 35 seconds ago.
Yeah, down 4 with a minute here to go. They got to stop. Caught a break on the foul underneath with Edwards, and then they caught a big break down here, getting a foul on the rebound.
And they've been knocking down the big free throws down the stretch. Well, Texas Pan Am has missed a couple of big ones.
Yeah, they did. They've missed 5 on the game, 14 of 19, but
they've been great throughout the game. But here down the stretch, they've
3 or 4
missed
misses. That's right, and that could cost them here. We'll see.
DeWitt Scott a chance to put the pressure on the Broncos. There you see the time on the clock. The free throw is perfect. Dons lead it by 1. As you said, half a second different on the shot clock. 30 seconds to play. Got to be careful on the foul, because any foul on IPFW gives you 2 free throws. And they go inside out of bounds. It'll be the Broncos ball.
Oh, Hawkins got the last hand on it right there.
Boy, you're just on the edge of your seat at this point because they said any touch foul, if they call it, that's 2 free throws.
It'll be interesting to see. They've called so many touch fouls. When you get down this late, sometimes they'll let it go unless somebody gets hammered.
But you got to play defense. You can't give up the easy shots. So, and Hawkins going for the steal, almost got it.
Justin Hawkins on the floor. Go figure.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. He's left more skin on the Coliseum floor than anyone else. There's no doubt about that. 21 seconds to play in the game. 21.3 to be exact. Crowd really getting into it. Want to see the Dons close out the regular season with a 3-game winning streak. 15 on the clock. Puente on top. Now it's Schenker, their leading scorer. He's been quiet of late, guarded by Scott. Timeout called with 6.7 seconds left. One timeout left for the Broncos if they have trouble inbounding the basketball.
Now, something interesting you see on the clock right
see
there.
If you can see what they're going to say here.
There's a 6.7. If I just stood right in the huddle, you think they'd notice? The shirt and the tie doesn't stand out with the orange jerseys over here. 6.7. There was 35-5 when they got the ball, so there's a half second there. They can't run it down to the buzzer. There's something. This could get interesting. That shot clock could go off before the game clock and leave 0.5 of a second right there. So there's a little bit of a dynamic here. They really only have 6.2 seconds.
Well, when you're trailing, though, you normally want to take it with 5 seconds to go when you're trailing.
Yeah, if
it was tied, you could run it all the way down and put it up as the clock expires. So I think they probably took off a little more time than they really wanted to here.
I really figured maybe he'd take that time out with 10 or 12 to go. Give himself a chance to inbound, get a shot, maybe a rebound. They've dominated the boards here in the second half.
Well, again, you hate to see it, but let's hope it doesn't come down to a referee's call. Because, I mean, they're in as tough a position as anybody else.
You do not envy the men in stripes when you get to this late in a one-point game.
6.7 to play. Dons leading by 1. Final game of the season. Looking for a 3-game winning streak. Let's see what they draw it up. It's the drive to the basket. The dish to Ryan. He's going to be fouled. He'll shoot 2 free throws. He'll shoot 2 free throws with 2.2 to play. Line a 58% free throw shooter on the year. He is 2 out of 2 tonight. Probably more pressure than he's seen late in a game. Right here.
You know, simple play right there. Shepard driving a dish. There you go.
Missed the first. Dons got a bounce out on a potential miss. Still 2.2 to go. Even if he makes it, the Dons will have an opportunity. Their best rebounders at the free throw line. They're out of position. Back one. Great rebound. Columbus is going to be fouled, and the Dons, the hurting fans, and they're going to call it. That's it. I was surprised they didn't get the foul call. The Dons dodge a bullet, and they have won their 3rd consecutive game. And Dave Fife, I don't think he's ecstatically happy, but I think he's relieved. And he said he wanted his team to play well. I don't know if they played as well as they played the last couple of games. I certainly don't think they did, but they found a way to win, and there's certainly something to be said about that. Because bottom line, you want to win the game, and they made the plays at the end. Got a feel for Colin Line. He got a couple of free throws, and he sat most of that second half.
Yeah, they threw him out there when Edwards fouled out with, what was it, with about 55 seconds to go. I say, big man, go play on that last minute. Stone cold if you've been on the bench for 7 or 8 minutes. And oh, by the way, we need you to hit free throws to win it at the end.
We're going to take a breath, and we'll come back with our post-game wrap-up show, our final one of the season. The Dons get their Division I record, 10th win since making that transition. They win it 55-54. Brad and I'll be right back. You're watching IPFW Basketball on UPN Fort Wayne.
Are you in there? What's up? The show's at 7. Whoa. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Our Arnie's Army is back. The Mastodons are on the move with the best volleyball action in the Midwest. The Dons have a seasoned veteran lineup ready to do battle with the big guns in Division I volleyball. It's time to take the offensive, settle some scores. Catch all the action of the next big volleyball battle at the Gate Center. Go Dons!
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
We are back for the final post-game show of the season, the final home game, the final regular season game. And since the Dons are an independent, there is no postseason tournament to dream of, but the Dons finished out the regular season as if it was a postseason tournament, and they won their final 3 games of the year, and they had to scratch, claw, and fight, and somehow play defense on 2 free throws at the end, but they got it.
Yeah, that was kind of the gritty ending that you will see. You know, we've got the other postseason tournaments coming up all over the NCAA this season. Those are the kind of games that you see, though, where a team knows that perhaps, you know, these teams knew they were done, but if you lose, you're done with that. You don't want to go out on a loss, and when you get down to a game at the end like this, fight, scratch, claw, do what it takes to finish that off with a W. And, you know, kind of up against the wall right at the end there, but nice effort, and, you know, I still think there probably should have been about a second left on the clock when Carruthers got fouled, but you take it when you can. The officials were just as ready to get out of here as everybody else was.
So the Dons are able to get that victory. We're going to be joined by Associate Head Coach Jeff Tungate on our post-game show here in just a little bit. The Dons pull it out 55-54. They had a 47-43 lead, I think it was, and then saw that turn into a 4-point deficit, and somehow a couple of free throws. They made the key free throws they needed to make. DeWitt Scott hit a couple. Tyler Best hit a couple of free throws down the stretch. Brad Pompey hit a couple of free throws down the stretch as well. Here comes Associate Coach Jeff Tungate.
We'll get him wired up here as Coach will come in once again to talk about a win with us after this evening's contest and settle in for, well, the start of, you know, you always enjoy an evening a little more when you're able to come and talk about a W. In particular tonight, though, Coach, this was not a game I think you would agree that the team played particularly well, but to be able to fight it out at the end like that and come up with a victory, that really means something.
Well, anytime you can get a win this time of year, we'll take it. We played awful. We got to give Pan Am a lot of credit. I thought they played very well and did a nice job in throwing us off our rhythm and changing defenses on us, and what they did on the defensive end gave us real problems for 40 minutes. So I think you got to give them a lot of credit too. But you know, I told Dane before the game, he said, well, I hope we play well tonight. I said, you know, this game tonight, I don't care if we play well or bad. I just hope we win by 1. And I told him afterwards, I apologize. I didn't mean for it to be that close and have to do that. But we'll take it any way we can get it. And we're so proud of our kids. They hung in there and fought. And Pan Am really played well tonight. And our guys found a way at the end to win it.
I tell you what, there was so much scrap in this team at the end. I mean, nothing came easy. And the free throws, which had been a little bit of a problem, you guys shot free throws for the most part most of the year fairly well, but struggled at times. The last 3 games, the free throws are really what won these games for you.
And I think that shows, you know, we were able to make them down the stretch, and we got them to miss a few down the stretch, and that was a big difference in the game. And our guys being able to make those at critical times is so important. That shows the growth of our team. And, you know, for the year 2006, we're 8-7. You know, since January 1st, we're 8-7. I think that shows a team with no seniors and new staff, new program, how much we've improved and how much we're getting better. And hopefully we can carry that 8-7 2006 on into next year and keep improving.
I think Coach Fife, I thought, controlled himself most of this year better than I kind of expected coming in, knowing his fiery personality. I think this game, it seemed he was fighting it a few more times. What was he like in the locker room after his first season as a head coach is done?
Well, I think it's such a long year for coaches, for players. I mean, college basketball season starts so early and runs so long. When the season's done, you're excited, you're happy for our players, but it's also, in a way, kind of a relief because you've been going for so long, and it's kind of nice to know that, okay, now we got time to regroup and rest a little bit and come back. But he did a great job in his first year, and I think he showed the maturity of a veteran coach a lot of times. And in a game like that down the stretch, it's tough to keep your emotions in check, and I think he did a great job.
Coach, no seniors on this team, of course, but you had some guys that really played like seniors here this evening.
We really did, and how about DeWitt Scott? Yeah. I mean, that guy it's just amazing how much he just keeps getting better and better and better, and it's scary to think as hard as he worked on his game this season, if he works that hard in the spring and the summer, it's scary to think of how good he can be next year. And DJ Posley is another guy. He just continues to get better, and I thought he did a good job tonight of handling what they were running against us, finding the open man at times, and made a couple big defensive stops for us too. So our guys, at some point you've got to say they're not new, and after you're on their 28th game, they're not new. So they should play like that, but to see him do it is special.
What flavor of gum was Coach Fife chewing? Because I saw him lose the gum out there on the court at one point.
I almost caught it when it came over towards me too. I didn't. My hands aren't as good as they used to be, so I didn't get a chance to catch it and check it out.
What did he say to the team immediately after the game? Because obviously it had to be an emotional time to pull this one out. I thought it was like a fight out there the whole time. What did he say to the team briefly after?
Well, he didn't get a chance to say a whole lot because he got the old Gatorade bath when he walked in there tonight.
Yes.
So it's great to see our guys have that much fun, and they've worked so hard and having to come and play the schedule we've played, to have them to be able to enjoy it and just to sit back and see that they can actually enjoy this for a while. That just says so much for our guys, and so Coach didn't have a chance to really talk to him. He was trying to dry off.
Well, you got 3 wins to close out the season. You got the 10, which I don't know if that was a goal coming in, but that does set a new standard for the program. What do you focus on now in the offseason? Obviously, you got everybody coming back as well as some transfers from last year. What do you do to try to get better for next year?
Well, a big thing we really got to concentrate on, we've got to get stronger as a team. I think that's something we see night in and night out with the teams we've played. Our strength has to get better, and that's typical for a lot of new players, young players, and freshmen not to come in with the strength they need. But that's something we've really got to focus in this spring and summer. Our guys have got to get stronger. And the other thing is we just got to work on individual skills, and that's this spring is a great time for that. We're going to give them a couple weeks off and then get right back to work.
Coach, you talked about having fun. We have had a good time as well. It's been entertaining, especially to see the team with some success here late in the season. We wish you guys all the best in the offseason coming up, and a lot to look forward to for 06-07.
Well, the one thing, I want to end with this. Our fans have been tremendous this year in the support, and I think those 2 free throws at the end, this place really made a difference in the game, and that really means a lot to have a student section down there cheering for our team like that and have the fans really get involved in the game and to affect the outcome of a game, and we hope that they all come back next year and see us again.
Well, enjoy this victory. Thanks for helping us out. Enjoy your family, because I know the coaches don't get to see their families all that much during the season. And I know you guys will be hitting the recruiting trail, but enjoy yourself. Take a deep breath and be proud of what you guys accomplished this year.
We appreciate your coverage and everything you guys have done for us as well.
And that's Associate Coach Jeff Tungay. We appreciate him joining us all year on our post-game broadcast. Brad and I will take one more time out, and we'll wrap things up for the season when we come back.
Oh, yes, to the 30, to the 50, to the 30 of Durham. He's going down the sideline, and it's up!
If legislation being considered now in the U.S. Congress passes, you won't see your local team or your government or local events and news on this TV channel. Telecom giants want to end a funding source for this and other local channels. And with such action, end your rights to watch or produce local programming. Don't let local access become won't see TV. Go to SaveMyFreeSpeech.net or AllianceCM.org now and learn how you can help. Become informed and contact your representatives in Washington. The time for your action is now. Otherwise, this is all you'll see here soon.
Happy spring! spring, it's time to think of chocolate eggs and Easter bunnies.
And we're thinking about children in town who would like to be a part of the fun.
We're the alumni directors of the area colleges and universities.
Each year we adopt an area school and provide filled Easter baskets for all the students.
We need 500 baskets.
Please consider donating filled wrapped Easter baskets for this very worthy cause.
Remember, all the items in the basket need to be wrapped and not homemade.
Then the entire basket should be wrapped. You can drop off your baskets up until April 6th at any one of our colleges or universities.
With your help, we'll make 500 children's spring a bit brighter this year.
Highlights from this one, as Coach Tungate told us here on our post game, not the prettiest game throughout the course of the night, but all right, roll when you're ready, guys. Hey, the St. Francis women, by the way, they're getting ready to practice here at the Coliseum. They're getting ready for the national tournament.
Yes, tremendous regular season championship in the MCC. Followed it up with a tournament championship in the Mid-Central Conference. They're going to practice here on the Coliseum floor. We'll do a little play-by-play of that. No, just kidding.
Yeah, there's Tyler Best getting in motion. Great little up and over. Tyler really got his game going in the second half. Did not do a whole lot in the first half. He had 9 points, but got a lot of those at the free throw line here today. But got some great play inside there in the second half.
Biggest points he scored was getting Edwards fouled out of the game.
Yep, that's it. That was the play, and there was a little drive and a score there by DeWitt Scott. One of the couple of the only 2-point basket he had on the night, actually. Hit 5 threes, but 19 points. Another great effort, and just really, as Coach Tungate said, not a pretty game. They did not play well, but it's nice to see a team at the end of the season be able to come out and just win a fight like that.
Yeah,
just to win a scrappy game and to really have something left at the end to come from behind.
Shot 38%, turned it over 14 times. Hit 10 out of 24 from 3. No threes in the second half, so we knew they wouldn't be shooting nearly as many in the second half. They only shot 4, I believe, in the second half tonight. You look at the final numbers, 46% for Pan Am. They shot 56% in the second half, so struggled a bit in the first, really picked it up in the second, but only one 3-point attempt. I can't remember last time I saw a team only shoot one 3-pointer in a game.
That was it. You look at that rebounding number 2, 33-24. That's where Edwards and Line and those couple of big guys inside. The other one, what do we have? Trader as well was the other one. Really paid off for them. Got a lot of second chance opportunities. 26 points in the paint. That's a number that they don't see there. We got on our little monitor right here at courtside, though. So you're talking about half of your points coming inside the paint area, plus 14 free throws. That's 40. That adds up in a hurry.
Dons didn't shoot a lot of free throws, but they shot them well again. As we said, the final 3 games of the year, they missed just 4 free throws. They were 12 for 12 last game, and then I believe they were 9 of 11 2 games ago and 9 of 11 again tonight. And these tonight were absolutely clutch at a time when they couldn't buy a field goal. They bought themselves some charity stripe. They took advantage of what was presented to them.
Yeah, that was it. They got into that double bonus late, and as you talked about the importance of every possession, when you get down to the final 2 or 3 minutes of a game that's only 3 or 4 points, if you can't get a field goal, fine, but draw that foul, and you got to knock them down. So important at any level of basketball to knock down those free throws, and it paid off tonight.
Time to wrap up the season for the Dons. Their 10th win. They close it out in style, winning their last 3. Couple of quick highlights that I kind of noted for the season. The second game of the year, they went down to Southeast Missouri State, picked up a 1-point win on the road. That, I think, was clutch to give them some confidence. Then that game here in front of almost 9,000 fans, Notre Dame almost had a chance to pull it out, lost it by 2. And then the big one, the one that really opened eyes across the country when they went down to Indiana State, picked up a win there. And another one, an individual thing, Tyler Best at 35 points in that overtime win over Longwood back on January 5th. And then the biggest highlight, closing out with 3 straight wins. I don't think you could have asked for anything more out of this team.
It was always, it's interesting, of course, the night of the Notre Dame game, but in particular that Indiana State night, for those of us that weren't here, or we didn't make the trip to Terre Haute, of course, but didn't really have a chance to see what was going on. You're watching ESPN, all of a sudden on that bottom line down there, it pops up, IPFW, and you see that in yellow against Indiana State. Like, what's going on? You got to get on the phone, you got to read the paper, you got to get online and see what exactly happened there. And that really, as Coach Tungate said, 8-7 after the calendar year. That game was on January 2, if I remember right. That was right at the start of this 2006, and to go 8-7 after that with a 7-game road trip that took them all over the country. I mean, they went to Colorado, they went to North Dakota, they went to Texas for a couple of games, and to have to play like that and to come out plus 500, that's very promising looking ahead to next season.
And with a couple of exceptions, virtually an entirely new team this year. Quentin Carruthers and DeWitt Scott closing the season out in style. They, I think, along with Justin Hawkins, will really be the leaders next year. You'll add Kevin Nelson, as said, the MVP at Central Michigan last year, as well as Demetrius Johnson, a prolific type scorer. So this team next year, I mean, there really is reason for hope. Where coming in, people didn't really know that there was hope.
Yeah, and that was one of those things where we kind of went from here, 10 wins this season. You know, you look at 10 and 18, now all of a sudden you look at some of those close losses, you think maybe they could finish 500 or better next season. What kind of a goal could they set with all of these new guys coming in? We didn't set the goal at, was the goal 10 this year? The goal this year was 5 or 6 wins, and they got 10. Perhaps 500 next season, so it's very promising. More importantly, I think at the end of this season, with guys like DJ Posley, Tyler Best, the development that we saw, the improvement that we saw with some of these guys in the last 3-4 weeks of the season, again, off-season, the basketball season now, that March to November segment leading up into the next one becomes almost more important than November to March has been.
I wonder what it's going to be like for Dane Fife this year, because coaches always go to the Final Four. What it's going to be like for him, he's been to the Final Four as a player, but what's going to be like as a 26-year-old head coach intermingling with all the big head coaches down at the Final Four in Indy.
Catching a fair amount of ribbing, I'm sure, from some of the veterans whom he gave havoc to as a player over the years throughout the Big Ten and throughout the NCAA tournament. Walker, give me one of these, young man, calling him coach and so forth. I'm sure great experience for him, obviously, to get involved in that. And then it's going to be a great experience to get these guys out on the recruiting trail. And with 10 wins now, again, they got something to sell. There's something to sell here. There's this Coliseum.
Many spots to offer for next year.
That's it. You're running out of room, but as you kind of have to start doing that, Coliseum, the crowd, this improvement, this team, this whole IPFW basketball thing now, there's something to it, and the success from this season is going to pay off next year, and, for Coach Fife to kind of think long-term, that's going to pay off down the road.
Well, we certainly have enjoyed bringing you IPFW basketball. Did all but one of the home games this year. Randy Schiffman, only game Randy missed tonight. He had some duties with the Indiana and Purdue game, that other game going on down in West Lafayette.
Check on that.
Brad, as always, been fun working with you. And for our sponsors and all the camera crew at College Channel 56, we appreciate all their efforts tonight. Once again, the Dons eke one out with a couple of late free throws and then a couple of missed free throws by Pan Am. They win it 55-54 for our entire crew and sponsors. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next year for IPFW basketball. Good night, everyone.
This telecast of IPFW Mastodon Basketball has been a production of College 56 at IPFW in conjunction with UPN Fort Wayne.